Okay, so Happy New Year, everybody, and Brad's on time, Kurt's on time, Andrew's on time, but we're missing somebody in action, and hopefully we'll find out where he is sooner or later, but hopefully sooner. So, as usual, it's my pleasure to introduce the co-hosts of this evening's show with me. So we have Kurt, 5150, and we have Brad. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. How are we?
Happy New Year, guys. Good to see you guys.
Happy New Year. It
doesn't seem like it was 2 weeks ago.
No.
It just seems like another day to me, but, you know, it's a positive energy, so we're going to keep it positive. And
Sure.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Andrew,
We've
how
got a few people.
many folks we have in the chat?
So we've got Kurt saying welcome. We've got Sonia, who's a very, very good friend of the channel. She promotes the channel, so it's always a pleasure and honor to see Sonia from Texas. We've got Johnny Heartbreaker in the chat, nursing a New Year's. He is nursing a New Year's hangover. Jamie H2O11 Leia. And we have about 5 people watching us. So we'll just have a bit of a hangout and a bit of a chat, guys, if that's okay, until we get the Rum Meister, because it's his show.
Yeah.
Where is he?
He's the presenter. He's the presenter today.
I just texted him, so we'll see if that gets him too. But it sounds like we have a few new people joining us tonight, so welcome. This is the Rummeister's 5150 show, but I wanted to start out saying Happy New Year to everyone watching tonight, and I hope that everyone went out with a bang safely, made great decisions, and had fun. Of course, this year being a little bit different, I'm sure everyone probably spent the evening at home, but I just want to let everyone know that I'm excited for 2021. And for me, this is the time to stop and smell the roses and look in the mirror, and not necessarily look into 2021. But for me personally, I like to look back at 2020 and look what went well and look what didn't go well. And of course, you learn from your mistakes, and I try to put things in place to make 2021 a better year. And I'm excited for this year because I feel like the earth and myself have a lot coming. So I'm excited.
That's great.
How about you, Brad?
Well, look, for me this year, you know, previously, it's I think everyone's experienced a very challenging year from 2020. But, you know, it's good to stay positive, and I really like what you said there, Kurt, because I kind of feel the same way. I actually think, you know, it's a good opportunity to, you know, think about positive growth and blessings, love, health, happiness, and joy. You know, we all deserve that now after the year we've had. So, you know, and may the next year be one of possibilities and opportunities and adventures. I mean, who doesn't want to have adventures in their life? Yeah. So
Right.
let's you know, bring on 2021 and, you know, positive change and blessings and healing. I'm sure that we've all been through a lot, so it's a great opportunity to let go of the old that's no longer serving us and allow the new to enter. So that's my take on it, and I'm really hoping for a really positive 2021, you know, for the channel, for everyone's lives, you know, and much love to everyone. Happy New Year, everyone. And, you know, we got through 2020. We can do anything now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Look, I think what you two guys have said is heartfelt, sincere, and honest. And, you know, it's humbling to hear what you guys have just said, because it's what we do as people, isn't it? We get together and we like to share things, and we form groups and clubs and gangs and bands, and you know, that's what it's about. And if we didn't have social media and we didn't have music, you know, the three of us wouldn't be here. You know,
That's right.
There'd be a pretty slim chance that we'd be hanging out. As much as I love NFL, I don't think the chances of us hanging out with Kurt would be pretty high. But music is the key. Music is the key, and I think this is something that we're going to continue talking about as we go forward with these shows. That the music is the answer for not everything, but jeepers, it's a good thing for a lot of things.
Right.
I think music's like a common language that everyone can relate to. No matter what you believe in or what language, whatever, music brings everyone together. And I mean, look at us, we're sitting in different continents, and we're having a chat about our favorite artists, having a coffee and a good time with people in the chat. So anyone that's in the chat as well, when we're going through and giving our ratings and our personal opinions of these songs, we want you guys to join in and give us your opinions, and you can give us what your rating is on the song if you're familiar with it or how it touched you. I mean, that's a really big part of it. We want you guys to be interactive with us, so we can and we get a lot out of the interaction we get from you guys, and we talk about it offline. The funny comments, the good comments. We disregard the bad ones, and because you get timed out for 10 minutes, and also I am going to say this: anyone gives bad ratings, then we time you out. 10 minutes.
So are you saying these shows are rigged? Are these rigged shows?
It's like I keep getting requests on Instagram, for example, from these people that are trying to say, I'm going to give you 10,000 followers. It's like they're fake followers. It's not real, So we're keeping it real. Yes, we're keeping it real, but we don't even want to mention the word thumbs down anymore. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about subscribe, thumbs up. That's what we want to hear. So
yeah, absolutely. And anybody that subscribes to this channel, it's an automatic sub back. I can guarantee you that. This channel isn't just asking for subs, and we won't ignore anybody, because we know a lot of people that are contributing in the chat, guys, want to build their channels too. So support your channels, support your friends, as Kurt said on the last show that we did. And Brad, share your favorite channels in your social media circles. Just put a rating on there. Just say, look, check these guys out, because we would appreciate that. We want to grow this stuff organically, and we're proud to have organic fans hanging out with us talking about these things. So while the Rummeister gets his A into action, I suppose I'm going to get things kicked off and ask Kurt to sort of give us a bit of a personal examination, maybe from his experiences on this album behind us. If that's okay. Do you want to kick off with a couple of observations, and then I'll get Brad to follow suit?
For sure. And one thing, this is going to kind of piggyback off what Brad was just talking about. And, one of the main reasons why I'm here is my passion for music and how much I love it. And I can't remember what Brad said, but the first thing I thought about was Van Halen going to Japan and playing live there, and how those stadiums or arenas or venues where they were playing, they couldn't follow the lyrics, right? They probably didn't know, majority of the people in the audience didn't follow the English language, but they were all there for the same reason, right? Listening to the music. And I think it speaks highly of how music can affect a person, that you would go to a live show when you don't even know what the people on stage are singing about, right? So to me, that just tells that there's more to music than just lyrics or the person behind the microphone and what they're singing about. It's more about the music and the whole. And when I think about OU812, this album came out when I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and just the cover reminds me of laying in bed with headphones on at night and listening to this. So I think every album that I have kind of brings me back to either a time when I listened to it a lot or when I purchased it. But for some reason, this album reminds me of like laying in bed at night as a kid, listening to this album with headphones on. The cover, it's dark and you can barely see the guy's face. So to me, this album kind of brings me back to that point in my life. And this album I actually purchased used. I don't know where you guys come from if they had used CDs, but to buy a CD back in '88 was probably $18, $19, but you could buy a used CD for $8, $9 in American. And I actually bought this CD like a month before Forunlawful Carnal Knowledge came out. I had picked up a couple magazines at the grocery store, and obviously was a Van Halen fan from 5150, 1984, and some of the older albums. But with the anticipation of Forunlawful Carnal Knowledge coming out, I had bought an OU812, only knowing one song, which was, of course, When It's Love. We're probably seeing the video on MTV over at my grandma's. So I bought this album used, and I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I hope I don't offend anyone tonight, but this album, I'm a big Sammy fan. I would probably pick Sammy, over Dave. But this is probably my least favorite Sammy album, and I would probably rank it probably third to the bottom as far as favorite Van Halen albums altogether. And I'm glad I got that out before Steve's on here, because I know he loves this album, so I can't defend it.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, I'll dob you in. Mate. I'm good at that. I'm good at taking apples to the teacher.
Yeah, exactly. I know you got a little brown on your nose.
Yeah, mate. I'll get some points out of this show.
Real quick before I turn it over to Brad, just a few facts. They were actually going to call the album Rock and Roll and Source of Infection. I'm not sure if I stole that from you, Brad, because I know you're pretty good at getting some of that deep dive data on some of these albums. But the band pretty much produced this whole thing themselves. I think it was the four of them and Don Landy who did a majority of the album. What I hear from Eddie and Sammy is this is probably the most relaxed album that they experienced in the studio. They were really laid back. They talked about having a lot of fun. If you read Sammy's book, which Andrew has referenced many times on the show, if you guys don't have this book, pick it up. It's amazing.
Got to get it.
It talks a ton about Van Halen, but Eddie and Sammy used to, he says they were buying cars like once a week and racing them down Pacific Highway, and they were just having a great time. So I always think OU812 that this is when the band they just got off the road from 5150. You see that tour and they're all smiling, hugging each other, and this is like they're really like cohesive and together like a family. And then the big one is they had a death in their family of their father. So this was the first album that they actually dedicated to Jan, their dad Jan. And the other big one is I think Al was sober when they recorded this album. He stopped drinking when his father died.
Yep.
And I'll get a little bit into it on a couple of these songs, but Sammy talked about how Al's drumming changed when he got sober. His actually rhythm got better, believe it or not. And he kind of got away from some of the loose jive stuff that he did, and he played a little bit softer. So you can obviously hear it on this album. But one thing before I turn it over to Brad, I really embraced Apple Music. Not sure if any of you guys use that or not. So we pay $8.99 a month, and you have unlimited music. So whenever a new album comes out, you can pull it on your phone or on iTunes. But if you play OU812 and then you play the best of both worlds, any song that was on OU812 and best of both worlds, those 3 songs on that best of both worlds are on OU812 or remastered. Yes. And for me, if I play that in my truck, I got a great stereo system in my truck. It's like night and day difference in sound. And my wish is that they would remaster this album.
Yes.
Warner Brothers remastered all the Dave era albums because, they still have the masters in their vault, and all the Sammy stuff, all the masters are at 5150. And I think we all know that there was a little bit of headbutting going on with Sammy and Eddie after Sammy left the band. And I honestly think that Van Halen didn't want to remaster any albums and re-release them. They didn't want to give Sammy any more money than he was already getting. So I think we missed the boat on getting this re-released, and hopefully Wolf gets something together where they remaster. If they remaster 5150 and this, I might as well just call it a day and be done with my life, because that's all I want. Because they both need remastered, right, Brad? I mean, you hear them. 5150 to me is like, it's the greatest album of all times, and I can't wait for the show in 2 weeks. And it's really cool that I get to start the show off, because that's my favorite album. But if they would remaster these 2 albums, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I have to agree. The remastering's overdue. I just ran off and I forgot to grab my CD to hold it in my hands, so I feel superior and like I know what I'm talking about. But I purchased this record. I actually got this record after I had 5150. I bought 1984, and then the Carnal Knowledge record was released. So I was right on that straight away, like we spoke about last one. And then I went backwards and started buying other records that they'd released, because I obviously was a huge fan. And then I bought this one. And I remember opening it and just going through, I'm listening to it, comparing it to, say, Carnal Knowledge, because I'm going backwards. I just noticed that the mix was lacking. So I was hoping that we would hear remaster at some point. I do love this album, and it's grown on me more and more and more. The more I listen to it, I mean, I've listened to it flat out for the last 2 weeks. I actually needed to take a break from it yesterday because I've just listened to it so much. But I think this really highlights a really wonderful era for Van Halen. Obviously, moved on. 5150 was there's so much energy in that record, but this record being a follow-up to it, as you said, Kurt, it's more settled. They'd found their groove as a band. And I think this was like a launch pad into the Carnal Knowledge record as we know it as well. I can hear similarities at times, which we'll go into in the songs. And I do really think that they worked really well on this record. I think maybe they should have got a producer in. At times, I think it's lacking in certain ways, especially in the bass. It really annoys me because Michael Anthony's such a great bass player. And
what bass?
Yeah.
And that kind of gets to me a little bit, that they so low in the mix, and you really got to focus on hearing it to hear it. And for me, bass and drums really need to be in the mix. We go through the Carnal Knowledge and Balance record, and Balance is probably the best mixed Van Halen record to my ears.
Yep,
I love it. So anyway, I don't want to dive too much into the record because
we've got someone here. So someone's actually managed to find out and realize, oh my gosh, I'm hosting a show this evening.
Sailor Jerry's here.
I couldn't upset Kurt. I wore the wrong shirt a fortnight ago.
I love it, buddy.
I I got in trouble last time.
Oh boy.
I did. I've been guilty for like 2 weeks.
No,
Happy New Year, Steve.
Don't feel guilty.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
It seems like there's a general consensus everywhere I look or people I talk to. Everyone just wants to forget 2020. It seems like, yeah. I don't know if it's like that where you guys are, but that's the general consensus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just spoke a little bit about that, and we're going to end it on a positive note, moving forward with a little bit of, if you go back and have a listen to what Kurt and I and Andrew said about, moving into 2021, I think we're on a positive path here. So go back and have a listen when you get a chance. But yeah, we're leaving it behind. We've learned from it. We've all processed. We've all healing from it. We're moving on.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. I have to echo what Brad said. So, Rummeister, this is your show. So you're going to give us your intro, and then talk about the song, and then Kurt's going to reply, and then Brad, and then myself, if that's okay. So,
what about we got stuff to show? What about
yeah. Yeah. We've got Guru's collectibles, so we can do that after maybe the third song or something like that.
Oh, my
if
God.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you're keen to give us your intro and then kick off with a couple of songs, and after the third song, we'll do Guru's collectibles, if that's okay.
Well, it's not my show. It's whatever you want to do.
It's our show, guys.
Okay, guys. Yeah, OU812. So again, as always, correct me if I say something wrong. But I just got a few points. So eighth studio album, second with Sammyhagar, released May 24th, 1988. So I would have been 16, turning 17. I would have turned 17 June 4th, 1988. So that's why I think when I talk to most people as far as Van Halen fans go, it always seems to be like around grade 10, 11, 12, wherever you're at, whatever year that is. I'm saying the majority of people that not everybody, but I'm just saying this is the pinpoint for me. Obviously, coming in with Live Without a Net, the 5150 tour was when I really was getting into it, and then this was the first album like you guys had last time with Forunlawfulcarnalknowledge, where, oh my God, it's coming out May 24th. I'm at the record store like early, waiting for the doors to come open, and I'm like first in line to get it. So that's the way I relate to this one, is where you guys were on Forunlawfulcarnalknowledge.
Cool.
Produced by Don Landy. The singles, so the first thing I heard was Black and Blue. There was a show, might have mentioned this before in the show, called Rockline. Rockline used to be on the radio Monday nights, and they'd always feature a different band every week. And for this release, I think there was a double header, 2 Mondays in a row. One night was, I think, Alex and Mike, and the next week was Eddie and Sammy. And you could phone in and ask questions. And our buddy Johnny Bean, I know he's been on there a couple of times back then, 30-something years ago.
They're still on YouTube. If you want to go back and listen to them, you can find them.
Oh yeah. I've got lists and lists of things that I've saved, and but the first single was Black and Blue, so that was the first thing I heard. And they actually had a contest. You could win an autographed copy of Black and Blue, the CD single at that time. Yeah. So other stuff. When It's Love became a single. I know that's Andrew. Is that still your number one favorite Van Halen song of all time? Okay. June of '88. Finish What You Started was a single September of '88. And Finish What You Started was also Valerie Bertinelli had a show around 1990 probably, called Sydney. And that was the opening song to her sitcom, which I still have a VHS tape of the entire what would you call it, series? Yeah. I still have on VHS.
Hey, Steve, real quick, do we know, is this the first album that came out on CD for them as a new release? or did 5150, was that a CD?
I'd say 5150 was a CD.
It
I don't
was?
know if
Okay.
I don't know if it was released as a CD the same time that I don't know, Kurt, because I didn't get 5150 till I saw like Live Without a Net.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably maybe just before then, but I didn't get it like the day it came out. It's just the timeline. I was in grade 10. End of grade 9 into grade 10 when 5150 came out. End of grade 9, I guess. Yeah. And I ironically, I played on the school volleyball team in grade 10, and we're actually in a volleyball tournament in Vancouver the night that Van Halen played the 5150 show. So, yeah, I had friends that were fans of the band with the David Lee Roth years, 1984, and then it was their first show was seeing Van Halen with Sammy Hagar in Vancouver. I was there in Vancouver that night, but I was at a volleyball tournament. So ironically, all of a sudden, my favorite band became that show, basically, that I wasn't at. Yeah.
Wow.
This album went #1 on Billboard, as did 5150, as did Forunlawfulcarnalknowledge and Balance. But these ones, were basically shipped #1. I would say to you guys, like I live on the southern tip of Vancouver Island here. I have beaches on 3 different sides of me, east, west, and south. This was the album of the summers of 88 and 89 when I was in high school. There was probably Metallica, Garage Days was played, Aerosmith, because their popularity came back with the Walk This Way video and Permanent Vacation album. I would say, that and AC/DC albums were played at parties, but this was definitely one that was played all the time. Every beach party I went to, we'll get into the songs, but certainly Cabo Wabo, Feels So Good. They have kind of a beach theme kind of happening, and that's a huge like tattoo on me personally in my life, because I have beaches on 3 sides of me, like 10 minutes in 3 different directions. So I'm at a beach almost every day. I know Brad, where he is, he goes out on paddling out on a lake almost every day. So that's kind of what this album means to me. And of course, before this, with 5150, I had Summer Nights, was kind of a summer theme song. So it's kind of fits that sort of surfer kind of attitude. Like some of these songs have that in it, not all of them. So videos for me, obviously Andrew's favorite was When It's Love, which was interesting because for 5150, they didn't have an actual video. There was the Live Without a Net, and there was the One for Dreams, which featured the airplanes and the jet fighters. But this was we hadn't really seen anything since the 1984 album. So for me, we're going to get to it, but it's funny as soon as I watched the When It's Love video, it reminded me, do you guys remember a song by Neil Young called This Note's For You or something? And it's kind of like a smoky bar scene, and that's what this video reminded me of as soon as I saw it. It was around the same time too when it came out. So it kind of seemed like it was going to be an ad for Budweiser or something, because the guys with all their equipment set up on the bar scene, and I think we found out in the Red Rocker book that I have that Sammy actually had some kind of relationship going on with the waitress in the bar in this video.
There's a guy wiping down the bar with the bar towel, right?
Yeah, right. Then the next video, guys, Finish What You Started. So that was a neat video to see. A bit of a country flavor. We're going to get into that song, an acoustic song, which they hadn't done in a while. And then Feel So Good, which was a lot of old Van Halen Eddie Van Halen fans were happy to see the Frankenstein making another appearance in that video. So there you go. Yeah, there it is.
I was waiting for that, Steve. It's almost like we had that queued up together. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, that's going to happen all the time.
Andrew, do you have this magazine?
I've got that poster on my wall over here. Yeah.
So you have this? You have this magazine?
In digital. I don't have that in hard copy. but the
Okay.
Frankenstein.
Send me your address. I'll send you one.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
With this poster.
But I have the centerfold from a Guitar World magazine from a few years ago, which has got the Frankenstein. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Steve, do you have it?
Yeah, actually, part of my unboxing is I have something from France to show. So we're gonna
Awesome.
wait till song 6 apparently to do the what's in the box.
Mom's
Song three. Song 3.
Mom's the word.
What's in the box and what's in the box and Guru's collectibles are two different things, and it's always Guru's collectibles first. Because I've got a whole whack of stuff I got to show. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Cool.
That's good because
That's
I
why
don't
you're
have
here.
anything to show. So that's perfect.
Okay. No, that's fine. So you guys, one by one, what's your overall thought of this beforehand, or have you guys just spoken about that?
Oh, these two here have. I haven't. I haven't offered an opinion. So I'm not going to let them jump in again. I've got some information too. I'm going to knock on Kurt because it's not his favourite. It's not one of his favourite albums. So
I was hiding from Steve.
No. It's all good. I'm happy with anybody who likes any era of anything to do with this. I get it.
I love this album because I'm old enough to remember I bought 5150 when it came out, and I remember buying this album when it came out, and a little bit like what you were saying, Steve, too. It was the album that my friends and I were listening to, for about a year, and it's those memories that in particular come back when I listen to this album. I've been listening to this album basically since it's been released. I love the album, and one of the reasons why I love it even more over the last couple of years, it's because of the love that the band had for each other and the friendship and the tightness that they had when they were making this album, which reflects something to me that I love even more. So what I like about doing these shows with you guys is that we can go back and we're never at a position where we can say we know it all, or we think that we've experienced all the emotions around an album or a song. It continues to grow, so I love that. So thank you for giving me that opportunity, guys, to go through this process. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'd sort of echo that. The one thing I like is all of a sudden, a guy like Kurt shows up, and people start throwing facts out, and you start learning new things. And I kind of go through time loving it the way that it is, and then all of a sudden people will give you a fact or a stat or something. You're like, holy cow! I didn't you could dig and find the information, but the world's chaos, the world I live in, so I don't have a lot of time for that stuff. So I like it when guys chime in, and we're going to get into one of my what's in the box things where people are arguing all the time on Facebook, and I laugh my head off at it. What people fight and argue about because they have so much free time on their hands. I'm
going to interrupt here. Do you guys get the feeling that Steve wants to show us what's in the box? I think we should do Guru's Collectibles. What do you want to do first, mate? Guru's Collectibles or what's in the box?
Let's ask the chat.
We got to go 3 songs, and I just have to say something else.
Okay.
I mentioned before, this is me in grade 11, right before the summer of grade 11. This is the first concert I ever saw was the Monsters of Rock in July '88. So here I was. All I had was Live Without a Net in my mind. Oh my God, I'm going to get to see these guys live. And the album came out. You listen to it every day. And then, oh my God, it was July 25th, I think, '88. So it's only 2 months later to the day almost that the concert was. So now I'm getting the ferry. I'm going down to Seattle. It's my first concert ever. And so the next thing was the next probably 2-3 summers. I'm an honest guy. I probably bought this cassette 5 times because it was in my stereo that I took to the beach with me all the time. And sand and water and beer and mezcal, tequila would get dumped into my stereo. and would eat the tape, so I'd have to go buy another one. I bought this cassette 5 times. I'm not kidding.
Beer?
And,
you were
yes,
underage.
We had a guy who was, no, we had a guy. I'm not kidding.
He had a guy.
Yeah, and he's going to be mentioned in the first track here, Mine All Mine, because it was his favorite song when I was in high school. He had the locker next to me all the way through grade 8 to 12. And he's of Yugoslavian descent, so he could grow a beard in 1 week when he was like 14. So if we were having a party, on Monday we'd say, Mike, we're having a beach party Friday, start growing your beard. So by Friday, we give him like $160 and he'd get flats of beer and tequila. And yeah.
So real quick, Steve, before we get going here. So he went and saw his first concert in Seattle at the Kingdom, which is 2.5 hours northwest of me. And this structure has been imploded. I think they tore it down in March of '99. This used to be the largest concrete structure in North America.
Wow.
And my dad used to take me there, Steve, to Seattle Seahawks games. My birthday's in November. And once a year, he would take me to a Seahawks game at the Kingdom. And I have many, many, many memories of spending time with my dad at this building watching football. So really cool that you saw your first concert there, which my second passion outside of rock and roll and Van Halen is the Seahawks. And so that place really has a soft spot in my heart too.
Yeah, I know we throw years and stats out there, but I think it was sort of 25 years since it had been built. And I have the whole thing actually recorded when the Kingdom was dynamited and imploded. I think it was 25.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it was 1974 to 1999, 25 years, and that was it. They're getting rid of it. And then, Seattle's a great town for sports because all the stadiums are walking distance to each other now, yeah.
And I went to the last game there against the Miami Dolphins, last game at the Kingdom before it was torn down. Anyway. Steve and I, if I would go to the southern tip of Vancouver Island one of these days when we can travel again, I swear we could probably spend 12 hours on the beach talking Van Halen. Seriously, it'll happen.
Yeah, there's many beaches here, little inlets everywhere. But guys, to get into the tracks here, so the first song, Mine All Mine, and I actually need your help with this song. This was my best friend Mike I told you about. This was always his favorite song, and it's a synth sound. The synthesizer sound is something like I haven't heard this particular sound necessarily before. Maybe something with Sunday Afternoon in the Park, kind of. But not exactly. It's a different kind of sound that's going on with the main riff in this song for me. It's an appealing song for me. Because it was my best friend's song, and here I am 32 going into 33 years later. I still put this album in my car and listen to it. I always crank this song because I'm trying to get it. I need to meet someone else that loves this song so they can explain it to me. So it's a song that I like listening to and cranking up because my best friend likes favorite song. Let's see, what did I write? Mike's favorite. It's a good song for yourself. Like if you're a guy like when I was younger, I was into sports, but then all of a sudden I got approached by a track club to run track, which is an individual sport. That's how I kind of relate to this a little bit. Like, you want to do something for yourself. Instead of being on a soccer team, there's like 15 guys. I stopped in grade 11, 12, and into college, and I just ran track, 400 meters for 4 years straight. And so whatever your thing is, like I know Brad loves going out on the lake in his kayak or whatever, his dinghy, whatever he's in, and like doing his own thing. I don't know what Kurt does as far as his physical fitness goes, but if whatever you like to do, and if you like cooking, this is a good song for that. Like you want to do something.
I do like cooking.
There you go. So do I. I've got some Guru's collectibles. I'm going to get into some of my cooking stuff actually. So again, I always see that's part of this show. I always correct myself. here I was thinking, he mentions, you got Jesus in the West and all this stuff, and Allah in the East, and that's another theme of getting into some sort of almost religious type vocals. And I don't know, I wasn't a church going guy when I was younger, but with the loss of my dad and my mom, 2020 last year, I sort of have more of a spiritual side to me in my life as time goes on, as you lose people.
Amen, brother.
These songs start to speak to me more. That's the thing about this show. I remember there was one of the songs in Balance, I think Seventh Seal, we were touching on this subject. And so here it is again, it jumps out at me. I think we had Judgment Day, bearing the cross on Judgment Day. And these songs I really enjoyed these songs more as we've been doing these episodes. These songs really speak to me a lot. This song, Mine Oh Mine, it's definitely a play. I guess the thing, and I'm asking each of you individually, sort of this whole synthesizer sound. Do you like it? Don't you like it? I mean, you guys are going to talk about the song yourselves. But for me, I always say if it's a 10 for me, it's got to give me the goosebump thing, and it doesn't quite do it. Not for me. So it's going to come in at about 8.5. I'm going to give it the Brad 0.5. And it's just a song I really enjoy listening to it. I want to get there, but I'm not there yet to give it an A. I'm giving it a B. It's a play. I've been playing this song for 32 years and I'm still digging. I'm probably not going to figure it out. But maybe you guys might say something here to change my mind. But who's ever next, go for it.
I feel like I'm leading a Bible study class.
Oh, good. Here we go.
So I hope I don't steal your thunder, Brad. Did you have any technical info on this song?
Go for it.
All right. So, Steve, this track was recorded on a Roland D50 with the Yamaha TXC 816 synthesizer through a Roland MC500 sequencer.
Okay.
So he sequenced the keyboard parts, and then Alex overdubbed the drums over the top of it. And they did it in layers. And after Alex, Mike overdubbed his bass, and then Eddie did the guitar tracks last before they did the singing. And this song is about drugs. I don't know if you knew that, Steve, but it's an anti-drug song. I read somewhere that Sammy talked about writing the lyrics and not necessarily talking about him and Eddie, but talking about just drugs in general and what they can do to you. And you hear some of the words like they'll find a cure for anything just to kill the pain, numb my brain, speaking the word of God, proven to be a fraud. So if you really think about it, he's talking about anti-drug situation. But for me, the song is what's that?
No, there's a line, something like look the devil in the eye type thing, and you're making a choice. And so these are the kind of songs I like, where whatever you think it's about, that's what it's about. But obviously you've gone deep and really found an interview with Sammy, and that's great. But that's cool.
Yeah, if you guys remember when I got the Van Halen Encyclopedia 2 weeks ago, it says "Mine Oh Mine." This is an anti-drug song and was the second song written on this album. It is fulfilling your future without letting drugs get in the way. So it's in black and white. So I don't know if you call that facts, but I would give the song 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect song for the beginning of the album, especially considering the heavy keyboard that they used on this album. And before I hand it over to Brad, I like the solo. Eddie has some cool bends and dives that he does. It's cool to hear. You're going to hear me say this a lot, but you hear that 5150 plugged into the Marshall. But Steve, before you got on, I ranked this album as third to the bottom out of all the Van Halen albums for me. But if Van Halen remaster it, it would move up a couple notches. It's just real dry. This doesn't have that, like balance, like Brad was saying.
Definitely when I saw this song performed live, I think, Kurt, that was the show we were at Balance. The Balance tour, they would do this song. I think they had a surfer on the screen. So I would say even then, when I heard it live, it's that synth thing. I just get lost in it. And I'm always saying to myself, like one of my last things I said here, where's the main riff in this? It's kind of like this layered thing. And that's the thing with Van Halen. There's always this big riff. And I mentioned that before. It could be like jump on the keyboard. Okay, there's the main. I'm always, with this song, when I listen to it, I'm always, what's the main riff in this? So that's why, like, I can't give it a 10. It loses kind of a mark for me because I'm intrigued. I'm totally intrigued by it because I play this CD in my car the most. Of the whole catalog, this thing goes in the most. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you think about how they recorded it with doing the guitar last, maybe Eddie thought that he liked the first portion of the song without the guitar.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, for me, as a listener, even when I saw this live, I get kind of a bit lost with that sound. It confuses it for me. Like, it's just a personal thing. Yeah.
No, and you're right, because usually on the keyboard heavy songs live, it's heavy guitar when it's live versus when it's on an album. You notice that?
Yeah, it depends on the song, maybe. I have to say, and we'll talk about this, I guess the next show is 5150, but I really like the fact that, like on Live Without a Net and the 5150 tour, where it gave Eddie a chance to play the keyboards live in concert, and Sammy, who did a fantastic job on guitar on all the songs, doing the solos, like for Love Walks In or Why Can't This Be Love? Like, it sort of opened that door for him. And so I actually preferred it live, any of the keyboard stuff, but then that kind of changed later on, Yeah, go ahead, guys. Brad?
Oh, it's my turn. Yeah, well, for me, this album in particular, I think we've already discussed this. The mix kind of loses it for me overall, but I'm going to try and not repeat myself and go over that all the time. For me, I really enjoyed like the synth intro. And I'm glad that you cleared all that up, Kurt, because I had that written here, but I wasn't sure if it was truth. So I'm glad that you've got the encyclopedia there, mate, and we can refer to that now as the Bible, okay?
Well, the gospel.
We've got the gospel, Kurt's gospel. We'll call it, you have to create a little intro, Andrew, called Kurt's gospel.
Father showing her.
Kurt's EVH gospel. Look, I'm a guy that likes to hear a complete song, not just, I like melodies, I like harmonies, I like guitar riffs, I like everything. And for me, this song, I like the lyrics. The vocal delivery is fantastic. Look, this song to me proves that Van Halen are a force to be reckoned with. Like, first track on their return album from, their debut with Sammy. This is their next album, first track. The Mine on Mine melody is perfectly written. You couldn't write a better melody in my eyes for that. I love the little breakdown section with the harmonies. The solo for me is like Eddie going into alien territory. He sounds like an alien, and that to me, he's stretching himself on this song as well in the solo. I love the solo dynamics and the lyrics, and the drums are slamming. Bass is a bit lost, as I've touched on. Maybe with a remastered version, I might give this a different score, but I've given it 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
And a great way to start the record. Like, a really, you can put this on and you start driving fast in your car by accident. You just can't help it because of the beat, the energy that's there. So, it's kind of like a really great follow-up to 5150. Then they come out. This is where we're at now, guys. We've just done a tour, and now we've got this record to put out to you guys. So, hand it over to you, Andrew.
Andrew, one thing real quick I forgot to add.
Sure.
This is the first album where they put all the song listings in alphabetical order on the back versus in track listing order. We didn't mention that, did we?
No.
No.
And if I can chime in on that,
Any reason? Any reason for that? That you guys know why they did that?
I'll have to pray about it and get back to you.
You'll have to go into You'll have to go look it up, Kurt.
And I guess I have to refer to Andrew because I know I sort of know nothing about the Beatles, but I think the cover of this album where they put the 4 mugs on the cover, there's a Beatles record that sort of this is kind of mimicking, huh?
With the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the name of the album? With the Beatles?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's mentioned in here.
Oh, okay. Is there, Andrew, what would be the most popular Beatles song that's on that album?
With the Beatles, hold on, I'm going to have to jeepers. You've put me in my hold on.
That's what we tell you.
Hold on, I'll find out with the
Alan Garber in the house.
Beatles. Hey Alan, All My Loving, maybe might be the most famous song on It Won't Be Long.
I Wanna Be Your Man.
Yeah. Money, which is another cover. I Want to Be Your Man. But yeah, this is the album cover. Hold on, that Steve is talking about. There it is. There.
And it was a conscious thing that they did that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And why not? You know, isn't that the current thing that we're always talking about? You know, that you know, a lot of the artists that we follow are borrowing and taking things and moving in the footsteps of, you know, people and bands and artists that have gone before them. Look, this album, this song for me, the problem with this song is that it's the song before When It's Love. That's the problem. Yeah, look, I've got to agree with you guys. It's it's a rocking song. It's a song that you're going to drink beer to. That, you know, if you've won a game, you know, and you're playing that at the after party with your friends, it's just a great song. It's a great driving song. Love it. Didn't pay too much attention to the lyrics when it came out, but certainly as I developed, you know, myself and started paying attention to a lot of lyrics, it meant something to me in a spiritual way too. So I'm glad that you guys mentioned that too, because lyrics and songs are important, and sometimes they're not. It depends on what context you want to talk about. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, and it's never a skip.
Wow, nice. So we got an 8, an 8.5, a 9.5, and a 10.
That's pretty.
And I was happy that Brad gave it a good score. I'm glad about that.
And back to the cover. As you guys know, Alex picked most of the covers for all of the Van Halen albums, and that was kind of his niche or one of his duties. And this was Eddie's idea to have everyone's face on the cover. And it was actually, I think, their second option. I want to say there was something else that was in the sleeve that was going to be on the cover, and then they switched to the faces. Maybe the monkey. I'm not sure.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
oh, that's interesting.
Or even the sleeve of the album when you take it out, when they have the Van Halen symbol. When you take the sleeve out. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that was in the, and it had a water background. Yeah, there it is.
But this speaks Van Halen to me.
Yeah. Well, no, and the OU812. It's like, hey, the monkey. Hey, this guy 812, and he's looking at a skull. Yeah. And it made, I would have liked it better with the monkey, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks 1,000 words without saying anything, right?
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, Johnny Bean is in the house. He just got home from In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, yeah. How was it, Johnny?
It was great.
Hey, I just want to do a quick shout out. You guys need to get the latest Guitar World magazine, because Dr. Alan Gerber has done the first official correct 100% correct transcription of Eruption after how many years? 40 odd years. So all credit to you, Alan. You were talking about tunings and all this kind of stuff long before anybody else locked onto it. So top marks to Alan, and we're privileged to have you in the chat with us, Alan, and you're going to have to jump on and join us for a show in the future. Thank you, Alan.
I want to give a shout out to Alan. I was watching a show today, a throwback on Johnny Bean, where Alan was talking about putting together his black 5150, and he was talking about putting the string tree on his headstock.
Yeah.
And instead of just throwing it on the headstock where he thought it looked like it needed to go, he actually matched it to the sound Eddie used on, I can't remember what song it was. He'll probably say it in the chat. But he plucked the strings on the headstock to the right pitch and then marked it and put it there. So obviously for technical reasons versus looks, which if you want to get nerdy, that's pretty nerdy. I love it.
Yeah, guys, so I guess we'll move on to Andrew's number 10. So he doesn't need to say anything about this song. So When It's Love, guys, I don't know about you, but we've mentioned before, kind of like for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, where it's kind of like two big epic rockin' songs to start off the record, but here we are. And Andrew's mentioned Mine Oh Mine's the rockin' song, and then we spring into When It's Love. So for him, he'd rather have When It's Love probably as the first song. I think the next song we'll get into, we'll talk about that. But yeah, keyboard, When It's Love. Whenever I hear the keyboards, I'm thinking Jump. I'm thinking Why Can't This Be Love? I'm thinking Commercial. I'm thinking Ready for the Radio. That's immediately Not Enough or Right Now. It's immediately, it's going to access not the guys who like the rock and Van Halen, but now the females will also like this song. And of course, they're singing about love. And as soon as Sammy Hagar's singing about love, we have the crossover. And that's where you don't sell just 1 million albums, you sell 5 million. Yeah, I mentioned the bar scene in the video. Of course, we like the bluesy solo. Actually, Alan Garber was talking about today on Facebook. It might be the one solo that's directly linked to Eric Clapton, probably the most. It's a very bluesy solo, yeah, it sounds great. I love the background vocals in this song, not just this song, but this whole album. This is Michael Anthony at his best, as far as I'm concerned. I like Michael Anthony's background vocals on this album more than any album he's ever been on. Yeah, it's the one thing that stood out when I listened to these songs the other day. Every song here, I'm going to say it, is Michael Anthony's background vocals, and a lot of times Eddie's in there with them. For me, I know it's certainly a 10 and Andrew's favorite song. For me, it's just a goosebump factor. It's certainly a great song. It's a play for me. Same actually as Mine Oh Mine. I'm coming in at the highest B I can give is 8.5, because for me 8.6 is an A. But for me, that's where it's at. I do prefer, the rocking side of Van Halen more than the keyboard side. But that's just a personal thing. It's a great song. It's a play, and I'm staying strong at 8.5 on this. Kurt, go ahead.
Thanks, Steve. This was the first song recorded on the album, right? If you guys read Sammy Hagar's book, he talks about how Al and Ed came and picked him up at the airport, and they played this song on a cassette in the car, and Sammy got the goosebumps on his arm. They almost named the song How Do You Know When It's Love? So they went back and forth on the name of the song. What's cool about this song is there's actually a mix of synthesizer and grand piano that Ed used on the song. And then he actually used his famous 64 Fender Stratocaster, the one that he got from Dan Martin, and Dan Martin gave it to him backstage at a show. and Eddie grabbed a box knife off from wherever and etched 5150 on the back part of it. And I guess
Kurt,
Dan
is
Martin
that is that a mint green pit guard on there, or is it a white pit guard?
It's a mint green pit guard. I wonder where you got that idea, Andrew.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So 64 Strat, Dan Martin's freaking out like, what are you doing? And Eddie told him, it's not about the looks of this guitar. It's an instrument. It's a tool. I don't really care about the way it looks. I just care about the way it sounds. We'll actually reference that guitar later on in the album. But for me, this is an 8 out of a 10. I actually used this song back in junior high when you used to make mixtapes and give them to girls. This was one of the songs that I would throw on there. There was always a go-to, I guess, way to reel them in.
That's why you always had a smile on your face at high school.
Exactly. So, it just, this song was the reason why I bought this album. And it's never a skip. It's probably my 5th favorite song on the album, but I give it an 8 out of 10.
That's interesting what you said, Kurt. I guess, and like Andrew sort of agreed with that. This is the one song, if there was a female in the room, this is the song I'd play for them.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, Brad, hit it.
Well, I don't know whether I should get my bouncer stance on or security guard stance on or not, because I'm a little bit disappointed in your ratings there, guys.
It's just, I like the rocking side of the band. It's 8.5 is very high. That's the highest.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just okay. Yeah. Well, it's borderline timeout, guys. Sorry, I'm going to say it right now. Okay. For me, I love the beautiful keyboard and piano sort of mixed intro. I'm a song guy. I love the heavy side of Van Halen as well, and that's why I love Balance and I love, the Carnal Knowledge record and stuff like that. Judgment Day, those sort of things. But for me, to write an epic song takes a lot of writing, like songwriting ability. It's not just whacking together a guitar riff and punching it out a song. It's this to me defines their Beatles side of that. I mean, they were obviously big fans of the Beatles. They even went for that look on the album cover. So you can hear it in the chorus, very call and response, the harmonies. It drips Van Halen, but Beatles to me, this song. And Beatles are probably like one of my biggest favorite bands of all time as well. So I'm hearing that in a lot of the Van Halen stuff as I'm going through that. And this is the great thing about this program is we're stripping them down like this. I'm hearing all their influences for sure. Look, I'm not going to touch on too much more. The lyrics are wonderful. A well-written song. The solo is one of my favorite Eddie Van Halen solos. It's like just perfect example of space and using technique perfectly. I was going to touch on the Eric Clapton vibe. I can really hear it in this solo. The section after the solo, it's a highlight for emotion and feel. The vocal bit, like where it does the R bits, and you can feel it, where Sammy's really pushing. Goosebump material. The whole song gives me goosebumps, but after the solo, when it comes back in, it's like if the fur's not standing, there's something wrong with you. That you should probably get your pulse checked or something. Look, it's so emotive and has to be like one of Van Halen's highlights as songwriters as such. Melody. I always go on about melody and stuff in songs, and you can't go past a melody like this. So I've given it 20 out of 10, and it's the highlight of the record for me, no doubt.
Yeah, look, I want to echo what you said too, Brad. It's a 20 out of 10 for me. What I want you guys to understand for me, when I listened to this song back when it came out, after spending 4 years of listening to Cream and just jamming out to Cream, when I listened to this guitar solo, I immediately detected Eric Clapton, and I couldn't prove it, because some of the guys that I was hanging out with weren't really Clapton nuts, so they didn't get it. No one would work it out or whatever. It was just a good guitar solo. So over the years and checking out guitar magazines and hanging out with guys and social media, reinforcing that. And again, Alan and the Rummeister made a reference to that. He made a comment on the 5150 group on Facebook and gave a transcription of the solo. And it's just fantastic. It's Eddie paying tribute to his immediate influence, his idol, Eric Clapton, and I can hear that, and I love that, and it's a 20 out of 20, and it's never a skip.
20 out of 20.
20 out of 20. I've bred it. We've got a thing going now on the other show that we do with Simon. It's called we're going to give it a Brad, which is
stratosphere.
20 out of 10.
Stratosphere.
Yeah.
Number. Look, don't get me wrong.
I love it.
I'm on the same page as you guys with the rock side as well. I love Van Halen's heavy stuff, and I love the rock. I love riffs. But I'm a song guy as well, and this is a perfect song that you could play to any family member, to any girl that you're interested in, or just as a good introduction to anyone to hear a Van Halen song, Yep.
Just give me a sec, guys.
Hey,
yep,
Mitch.
no problem. Just going to do a quick shout out while the Rummeister's getting ready. So we've got Mitch in the chat. We've got Johnny Heartbreaker. Alan, thanks for joining us, Alan. We love to get you on for a show. We're going to continue the series fortnightly. So pick a subject, Alan. You can pick a subject and come on and talk about anything you want. We'd love to have you. Who else have we got in the chat? Nelson, thanks, Nelson, for joining us. Browns fan. Please share our channel with your friends on social media. We want to grow the channel. We'd like to get 1,000 subscribers by December this year, and we can only do that with your help. And if you can do me a favor, if you can check out Brad's channel, there it is there. Check out Brad. It's running there on the bottom. He'd be grateful for any support. Hey, Rummeister.
Thanks, guys. That'd be great if you could check out my my website. If you're into this sort of rock music, I'm sure you'll sort of resonate with what I'm doing. Hopefully you do anyway. And also from there, you can go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So everything's there.
Cheers.
And Happy New Year's, guys. I'm hitting the rum. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Oh, thank God.
Happy New Year.
And what I call I'm pulling a Brad is when I go flip a page here. So
we caught Steve trying to do 2 songs on this last one. He's really wanting to get to what's in the box.
The third song, guys. So AFU, Naturally Wired, all fired up. This was the song that the group of friends of mine that we went to see this concert at the Monster of the Rock in Seattle. This was the group of friends of mine's favorite song that I went to the show with. So this was just, a great song if you're getting ready for a hockey game, a football game, baseball, whatever your sport is, just to naturally wired, getting pumped up without drugs, without alcohol. You're just up for it. I mean, I certainly had to do that in my sporting days. So, I used to eat 2 hours before I did a sporting event. So I had some kind of hunger in me when I was out there doing the sport. That's how I relate to this song. I like the tapping harmonics intro. I think it's probably the fastest riff on this album. 90 Days on the Road, the lyrics. Okay, obviously we're talking about these guys getting pumped up for a show. Basically, that's in the lyrics of the song. I take it pretty literally when I'm reading this, which makes sense. So for me, it's they're talking about their times on the 5150 tour together, what it was like, before hitting the stage every night on that tour. That's how I sort of read this song. One thing I wrote was I like the dynamics in the drumming on this song that Alex does. I think we talk about Alex on every album. I think we do about all the guys, but in particular, I really like his drumming in the song. I like the solo in the song. It's just a cool message, and it can get you fired up, and it can definitely, can get into the goosebump factor if it can mean that much. For me, it's a play. It's an A. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. It doesn't quite have the extreme goosebumps I need. It's getting there, though. So I think Mine Oh Mine, I gave 8.5, and When It's Love. So AFU Naturally Wired, I'm giving it a 9. Where am I? Wrong page. That was a Brad mistake. Sorry. And I was going to say this. For me, this could have been the first song on the album. I think just when Mine Oh Mine, it's just me. It's a personal thing, guys, because whenever I put Mine Oh Mine in, I get lost in that keyboard thing. I think this could have been swapped. I think AFU Naturally Wired could have started this record to continue on like good enough. Opened up 5150 just the way it hits me when I listen to it. We talk about the track listing sometimes, and that's something I wrote down. But 9 out of 10. It's always a play, and I'll always play this song. Go ahead, Kurt.
All right. So it's funny you say you like the drum track. Ed actually came up with the drum line on this song, and then hearing it on tape, right? It's like signature Alex Van Halen, for sure. The alternate name for the song was going to be All Fired Up or Naturally Wired, so they kind of decided on both with AFU Naturally Wired. I love the bluesy rock riffs that Ed plays on this song. It's once again, classic 5150 Kramer plugged into the Marshall. I think the highlight outside of the drums and Eddie's riffs, Sammy really pushes the limit with his singing on this song. You really hear him push those high notes, lots of high pitches and screams, and then accompanied by Michealanthony. That's like a recipe for disaster with all four of those mixed together. So for me, I would give it 6 out of 10. It's not my favorite, but yeah.
Wow. I'm shocked.
I'm here to shock the world.
That could be a timeout, Kurt.
You go to your room right now.
I knew something was up when there was this period of silence between something's up, something's cooking.
I'm gonna mirror a few things that you guys have said. Just like the drum intro is really cool. The amazing guitar that comes in to start. It's like a high octane energy vibe to me. This song, Sammy's vocal intro is crazy. Like for me, that's really putting him, stamping his authority on Van Halen for me. Once the verse starts, you can hear the evolution of Sammy's vocal melody for In and Out, basically, off the Carnal Knowledge record. I think so. He borrowed from himself when he got to Carnal Knowledge, and he borrowed this vocal melody in and Out. If you go and have a listen, you'll know exactly what I mean. The pre-chorus, the All Fired Up is awesome. The drumming in the middle section is fantastic. The pre-solo vocal and chug guitar line is killer. I mean, I really love that. Another alien-like solo. Next level, and the vocal at start, that horsey squeal that he does. I mean, I got goosebumps from that. The end solo into the last chorus is very, the drumming is very John Bonham. If you have a listen to the drumming there, it's very John Bonham. So, as much as Alex has his own thing, you can still hear he does lean on his heroes at times. And a great, cop rock type ending is, like they were finishing it off on stage or something like that, which I thought that was pretty cool. I liked that. I gave it a 9 out of 10 and never skip.
Nice.
I I agree. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. The great thing about the song is the drumming. Just love the drumming. The drumming for me is epic, and the harmonics. So it's never a skip. But another great beer drinking song, isn't it? It's a great song to have with mates, and whether it's a 21st birthday or an 18th. I don't know what the big thing is in America, but here in New Zealand and Australia, 21st is like a big party.
21st.
Yeah.
It's 17
So
in Canada, apparently.
Yeah, 14 in Canada.
If you got a guy. If you have a guy.
I got a guy. You got a guy, it's 14. Love the song. And it's a rocking Van Halen song, so yeah, never a skip.
Yeah, I think it's one of those songs that's kind of missed. It needs to be listened to more. Like Kurt, I'm going to make a tape for him and a CD and send it to him. And I'm sorry, I don't swear often, but that 6 is bullshit.
I'll take it. I probably deserve it, Steve.
Yeah.
It's time out, Kurt. Time out. He's trying to do something.
Come back, Kurt.
9, 6. Come on.
We want to rescore. We want to rescore, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm getting his P.O. box. I'm going to send him copies of AFU.
AFU.
Yeah. Oh, it's after the third song. I think it's time for Guru Collectible.
Oh, right. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Where is this? Where's the producer here? Where is he? Where's the producer? Well, here we go.
And now it's time for Guru's Collectibles.
And we're going to present him.
Before we get to the next song, I'm going to show you guys the original bottle of the Cabo Wabo brand. Yeah, here it is. This is the first version of the Cabo Wabo tequila in this beautiful cobalt blue. A lot of these were more sort of handcrafted, and there's strange bubbles in the glass. So this is the culinary side of me. I cook a lot with tequila. Prawns, I would say halibut. There's a marinade that I do. It's like onion and jalapeno, shot of tequila and some lime and salt and pepper, and it brings out the flavor and everything. Yeah, this is the first version of the bottle. It's got this cool little cardboard sort of lanyard that's hanging around the neck. It's got recipes of Cabo Wabo. It's called a Wabarita. It's a margarita that Sammy serves at the Cabo Wabo Cantina. So this is the recipe that's hanging off this bottle. So this is the first version. So we're looking at around probably, album came out in 88 with the song. The club opened in 90. So I'd say, yeah, around 93, 94, sort of 95 is when the first version of this would have come out. And this is all part of the demise of Sammy Hagar in Van Halen, is because of the Cabo Wabo tequila brand. This is bottle number 1, and I'm going to show you bottle number 2. So this one here, the seal is still on it. It isn't open. This is sort of my favorite version of the Cabo Wabo tequila. It's got this cool landscape with the cactuses, and it's got it around the ring here. It's got a cool sort of wooden cork on it. It's got cactus on there, and the little sort of lighthouse at the top of the Cabo Wabo. Again, the recipe card hangs off of this one. So this is all in this glass sort of china cabinet right here. This is all tequila bottles. Pretty cool. This is version number 2. So yeah, but between, I don't know the exact year. Somebody, I don't know, Kurt might look up Cabo Wabo and see when the different brands came out. I'd say if the first one was 94, 95, this one probably, about 4 years later, probably 98, around there. This one probably came out. Into like 2002, around that area. Again, it's still the cobalt blue. And you've got a different looking Cabo Wabo logo in gold in the middle with the agave plant on the outside. Again, It's got the cool sort of wooden cork in it, but there's no sort of painting on the top of it. So yeah, this would be the third version of it. And here's the fourth version. So another sort of different. It's got the Cabo Wabo name and the agave plant sort of in behind. This one's pretty cool looking. Again, it's got a bit of an
unopened,
a bit of an Aztec design on top of it, and yeah, again, a bit more of a story in the back. It reads about Land's End, and you know the lyrics in the song. You guys will understand it. So that's version 4. So this is the end of the cobalt blue. So we've got 4 versions of this in cobalt blue, and some small hick towns throughout, like the southern United States along the Mexico border. You can still find these blue, cobalt blue bottles at some stores in the southern states across the Mexican border. You can still find these, but I'll show you the last version here, where the Sammy Hagar sold the Cabo Wabo brand for like $260 million or something ridiculous. I don't know the number, but then it changes over, and they got away from this expensive cobalt blue. This is the next version. This is from the first year, and has sort of this guitar lanyard on it. This is what it looks like now. So they've converted. It's sold. It's another company's importing these, and it's just a clear bottle. It's like a disgrace to me because I miss the cobalt blue. But yeah, again, it's got the sort of wooden cork. There's no real design on it, but anyway, now it's gone. Someone else owns it. It's corporate, and they pump them out like these. You won't find this lanyard anymore. But yeah, so this was the 5th version, and I'd expect at some point they're going to change this. But it's been like this for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. 2007 was when he sold it for $80 million.
80 million?
Wow.
Sorry. I thought it was more than that. That's okay.
80 million, and then his rum apparently is doing just as well.
Yeah, so sorry guys, I have more to show, guys, but I like going around the horn. Do you guys have anything for Guru's collectibles you want to show?
We're leaving it up to you, Steve.
No, that's fine. I can sit here for 5 days. Are you kidding me? So
yeah, and Steve, I told you last show that I had a little mini bottle that I bought the first time I went to Cabo San Lucas, and I was dusting my shelf, and it fell and broke, and it was full, and it was the second generation bottle.
Yeah. So next thing, guys, is I have a couple of guitars here that are sort of super rare. So this is called, it's the Washburn Sammy Hagar.
Oh,
There's the Washburn and the Sammy Hagar initials that are in it. This is the official Cabo Wabo guitar. So it says it right here on the 17th fret, Cabo Wabo. So there's only 75 yellow and 75 red. And I have one of each. Here it is. Any guitar players out there just looking at this body, you're going to tell that this is kind of shallow here between the tremolo and the bottom of the guitar. Like it normally would sort of out be where my hand is out here. So it's sort of very short, the body. But yeah, it was just something I was always after. And I've had these for, I don't know, at least a decade, I guess. So pretty rare items. There's only 75, right? So this is the yellow one, and I'll get the red one.
I had no idea you had those, Steve.
Nor did I. Nor did I.
There's a whole vault of stuff. So here's the red one, guys. Again, Washburn, Sammy Hagar, Cabo Wabo guitar, 17th fret here.
What year were they released, Steve?
I'm gonna say in the late 90s, Andrew.
How did you purchase them? Were they mail order, or did you have to go on a list, or was it just something that you managed to get through a local music store to get an order in? How did they sort all that out?
Yeah, so Andrew, in my world, I was a bit of a late bloomer when it came to the internet and certainly eBay. So
Okay.
I will say to you guys, if you're looking for anything collectible on this planet, eBay is a good source.
Other than an 89 Kramer Sustainer in red.
Yeah, with a maple fingerboard and a black headstock. Yes.
Correct.
So again, guys, sorry. Yeah, it says Cabo Wabo here on the 17th fret. So again, only 75 yellow and 75 red. And then obviously it's the same guitar, it's just a different color, but it's the only two colors that came in.
That red is beautiful.
Yeah, it does have a skunk stripe on the back, but there isn't sort of the claw on the back for the foot ploid rose of the locking nut up here.
Is that a floating trim on there? Is it a floating trim?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yep. And
what are the pickups? What are the pickups on that bad boy?
Yeah, so they're just Washburn, like the stock pickups. It has a W.
Okay.
There's sort of a W here in between the post pegs here. It does a W, and there's a number 623 at the bridge, and the neck is 621. So whatever Washburn 623 and 621 is, that's the pickups. I haven't modified these in any way. These are just Guru's collectibles. They're collectible pieces. I might as well hang these on the wall. I don't even play these. This is strictly, I just, you see stuff, I gotta have it. Yeah.
How do those guitars sound, Steve?
That's what I was going to ask. How do they play?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, they're fine.
Yep.
Yeah, they're fine. The fretboards, the fretboards are a bit wide for me. I'd have to measure them, so I'd assume they're probably like an R3 as far as the width goes. I'd have to measure it, though. I can do that throughout this show. That's that part of it. The next part, we're talking OU812. We're talking the album came out in May of '88, May 24th. And I would say to you guys, like all these, let's say North America, like Guitar for the Practicing Musician, Guitar Player, Guitar World. This one came out in July of '88. This is my favorite magazine, period, because this is just the era of when OU812 came out. This was my favorite magazine of any of the guitar ones that came out. I just love I love the photos in this one. There's one here that I've shown before that I have framed on my wall. This is a popular one when Eddie's puffing out the smoke rings. But certainly I just wanted to show this magazine for this era. So this was kind of like the main one for this album and for the tour. This for me was the one magazine that stands out sort of in the OU812 era for me. This one.
And he looks healthy there on that shoot, doesn't he? He's got puffy cheeks, he's got a bit of weight on. So, he looks good.
Yeah, and I'll go to this. I've shown this the first time I was on Fender Guru show. This is my actual OU812 Monsters of Rock t-shirt that I bought at the Kingdom that day when I first saw Van Halen. Before the show, I bought two shirts. I stuffed them halfway down the front of my pants, two different shirts side to side. And I toughed it out the 12 hours I was in the Kingdom. So it has the cover of the album here. And here's the tour dates. So starting in East Troy, Wisconsin, and Seattle was the second to last show. The last show was in Denver, Colorado. So this is I call it the 5150 symbol, which is on the sleeve of the album. So this one, so we're looking at...
Never been washed? Never been washed, Steve?
Well, I can still smell the marijuana from the concert. I'm not kidding. And this one, look at the armpits. Disgusting.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so, wow. This was the other shirt, the Monsters of Rock shirt. And on the back, Van Halen, Michealanthony, Sammy Hagar, Alex, Eddie, Monsters Tour, 1988. So these were the two concert shirts I bought that day. And they still hang in my closet.
Wow.
So I'll show you that.
It must have been hot.
Did you catch those armpits on that white shirt?
Yeah,
white shirt. White shirts are disgusting. You always need to buy like 2 or 3. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's my Guru's collectibles. Until we get past song 6, I have a couple what's in the box.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Steve.
That was awesome.
Hey, Tone Bolts.
Okay, so I guess we're moving on to my favorite song in the entire catalog of Van Halen, and the reason I travel to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, I have gone at least a dozen times in my life. So yeah, Cabo Wabo guys, just hearing Mine All Mine, When It's Love, AFU. I mean, I kind of echo what Andrew said about like you're waiting for your moment of this record, and as soon as I heard this riff, I mean, anyone that ever mentions it, I tell them you gotta crank it because Eddie's playing a 12-string Fender electric on this song. That's why the sound is a bit bigger than some of the others. It was instant goosebumps for me when I heard the riff of this song. Kurt's showing the guitar there. It's on the far left.
Hold on. Where's Kurt? Awesome.
Is it? Yeah, it's a little blur, a little light, but there you go, right there.
And guys, it's just one of those things. When you hear something, what it does to you, and for me, just when I heard that riff, and it's very similar in style, this song, to a Montrose song called "Make It Last" off of the Montrose album from 1973, where it just has sort of gaps in the riff. And for me, it was just the goosebump thing. Huge riff. I always crank this song. I love the rhythm playing in the song. Just the whole story of the song is basically, Sammy was down there in 1985, and he sees some guy, sort of hung over or drunk on tequila or mezcal, and he's wobbling around the streets, walking into a barbed wire fence and cutting himself up and doing the Cabo Wabo, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and doing the wobble. I've done it myself. I will tell you guys the first story of when I went down to Cabo San Lucas. The first bar I went to, it's called the Giggling Marlin. It's still there. And I sat down at the bar. I got a fishbowl margarita, strawberry margarita. I drank that down fast. You're in a plane and through customs and everything. You're thirsty. Downed it. I got another one. I hadn't stood up yet. I got halfway through the second one. And I swear to God, I stood up to go to the bathroom, and I totally collapsed into the table that was next to the bar. Just the whole experience of the tequila that's in a margarita, and anyway, that was my story about that. And I guess the whole line in the song, "Let Me Take You Down." I mean, I definitely sort of bought into that, the whole thing of the song, and I've taken many friends of mine down there, and you don't know what it's like until you're there and have the experience. I know Kurt's been a couple of times. You go there once, you've been there twice. But for me, if you go there once, you go there 20 times. Again, I love the story. I love a song that gives you a story. I particularly I love the solo in the song. It was a bit different for Eddie. It's even slower than the When It's Love solo. He's doing a lot of harmonizing, echo effects are in there, hanging on to these notes, which I like with the British blues players. Like Robin Trower does that a lot in his songs, where he hits a note and hangs on to it a bit, and Eddie definitely does that in this solo. There's a riff at the end of the solo, this arpeggios in a few different spots that he hits, and the climax to the solo, and then it goes back into the riff again. And it's definitely the outro to the song. Again, these arpeggios are played, and just the background vocals of the song, and it takes the whole thing kind of takes me on a bit of a journey. And I always like the outro to this song. And I can't the background, the vocals on the song, background vocals of the song. It's obviously a play. It's an A for me, 10 out of 10. I always crank it up, and anybody that is listening to this record, crank this one up a little more because I don't know what it was. Just for me personally, when I heard this riff, it became my favorite song of theirs. And it's kind of like Andrew was talking about. He kind of skips Mine All Mine and goes to When It's Love. When this is in my car, I go to Cabo Wabo first. And like I said, you don't know unless you've been to the Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and you sat in the cantina, you have a margarita, and you have a Pacifico beer, and on the jukebox at the cantina, they crank music all the time. And when this song comes on and you're sitting there, I just think about it, I'm getting goosebumps, right? I can't fake this. Like it's just one of those songs. Like as much as Live Without a Net got me into the band, and this just sent me over the roof. And it's still the same for me. I went to Sammy Hagar's birthday bash in 2019, and it's still a part of my world going down there. And I have great times, and I met great people. And at the end of the day, it's a song that was on a record. They opened a club. There's a tequila brand, at the same time that the first time I went down there. So 10 out of 10 for me. It's my favorite song in the catalog. And I'll let you go ahead, Kurt.
Steve, is this is one of your favorite Van Halen songs, period, right?
It's my favorite Van Halen song, period.
Bro, there we go. That's very important. You should have highlighted that as well.
Did I not say that 4 times?
Funny thing is, when I was in high school, I wanted to get a bunch of guys together to go down to Cabo Wabo. And I couldn't find it on the map because I thought it was called Cabo Wabo. I didn't realize it was Cabo San Lucas. Oh. I'm telling all these guys, we're gonna go to this place called Cabo Wabo in Mexico. No one knows about it. It's a small fishing village. It's Van Halen's got this club there. And finally, my older brother told me, he's like, it's Cabo San Lucas. That's why you can't find it on the map. So, Steve talked about the 12-string Fender Telecaster, which is cool. Hearing this for the first time, it makes me want to go to the beach. That's kind of why, I talked about going down there when I graduated. Steve talked about going there once. You've been there twice. I've actually been there 3 times with my lovely wife. And in fact, known fact, our youngest daughter was conceived on the beach in Cabo on the Pacific Ocean.
There you go.
So if my wife had the balls to come in here, she'll tell you the story. But yeah, our youngest daughter was conceived in Cabo. So we always call her our Cabo baby, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
wanted Ed riff. What's that?
Well, I just wanted to thank you, Kurt. You sent me a Happy New Year photo, and I think it was a photo of your family, your wife, and 3 kids that you sent out.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, congratulations, man. That's amazing.
Thank you for that.
And
I got that too.
Not to get too deep, but my oldest son's in a wheelchair, and I know the struggles you have with your mom, and I've always wanted to meet you, seeing you on YouTube over the last year. So this is really cool that we're connecting because I really think we got a lot in common, which is cool. So anyway, back to Cabo Wabo, my favorite song on the album as well. And I actually pair this with Feels So Good. And actually Steve talked about it a little bit earlier when we first started, that it's kind of a beach theme, right? That's what I think of when I think about this song. I love the lyrics in the song talking about sleepy town south of the border. To me, you throw this song in and it just makes you want to drink beer or hang out at the beach. It's a total party song. And I actually liked in Live Right Here, Right Now, or if you hear them play live, sometimes they would parlay into this song during Sammy's on stage, whether it be rapping or telling a story. I always thought it was cool how Eddie would kind of just dive in with the beginning riff of Cabo Wabo, and they would play part of the song and then go back to the original song that they were playing. So I always thought that was cool that Eddie would just throw that song in when they're playing live. So 10 out of
Yeah.
10, and my first #1 song on the album.
Yeah, guys, and just before Brad goes, I just want to say, anybody, you can go on YouTube and you can see Van Halen perform Cabo Wabo in 1990, like when the Cantina first opened. And they only played there twice. They also played in 92, and they did a great set in 92. Yeah, there it is there. That's the photos from 92. So Eddie has a shirt on there. That's probably early in the set, like Pound Cake or Judgment Day. It looks like he's probably Pound Cake where his fingers are in the riff. But yeah, later on in the set, Eddie's not wearing a shirt. So I sort of know the timeline of that. I had it on VHS. Yeah.
That's the entrance right down here where we go.
Yeah. And that's the outside of the Cantina. Yeah, so there's two times Van Halen performed and played that song, and I'm not joking. When I went there first in 93, and I waited, at least like 27 years or something until it was actually played live, where Sammy's guitar player, Vic Johnson, actually learned how to play the song electric. So it was a long wait for me. And as I mentioned to you guys before, I had always hoped that Alex and Eddie one day were going to be at the Cantina and walk down and all of a sudden like launch into that song. But I was a year too late. I went in 93, but the last time they actually played there was 92. But go ahead, Brett. Go ahead, Brett.
And I've been there 3 times and have yet to see anyone but the house band play there. So it's on my bucket list.
No. Next time Sammy does a birthday bash, I'll set you up.
Oh, I would love to go, man. I would love it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brad.
Well, Kurt, you redeemed yourself, mate. So you're out of time out.
He's naturally wired now. Oh wait,
I'm human. I'm human.
Well, you guys have really touched on a lot of the stuff that I was going to do. I'll just quickly go over my notes here on the song. I love the guitar intro and the tone. Obviously, we know now what guitar it was. I can actually hear a little bit of the carnal knowledge vibes creeping into Ed's playing on this song. Sammy's vocal melody in the intro is fantastic. I love Sammy's voice. I mean, he sings with a lot of swagger and vibe in this song, a lot of attitude, but just cruising through it. And he's really setting a mood, which I think's, fantastic. The singers, it's very rare that a singer can actually capture you in that way. And Sammy was really good at doing that. Still is, but like in this era, on this song in particular, he takes you there, if that makes sense. He sets the mood and takes you there. I kill the chorus. The harmonies are outstanding. Love the underlying guitars in the solo. I know the solo is it's got the pitching, like the solo is amazing, and very Led Zeppelin ending to the vibe to the solo, if you ask me. It's like I can hear a bit of physical graffiti creeping into the last bit of that solo.
Yeah.
It's definitely in there.
The road.
Great vocals and harmonies all round, and I gave it 10 out of 10. Never a skip.
Wow. I'm very shocked. That's great.
Yeah, look, it's a 10 out of 10 for me too. That opening riff is fantastic, and if you're not going to fall in love with that opening riff, well, you're not going to be a Van Halen fan, are you? It's just fantastic. That palm muting chug. Very good, very good. And there's some good channels showing you various ways how to play that song. It's surprisingly not that difficult for an intro. So look, I love the song, love it. Thank you for mentioning Sammy's vocals because it's a standout performance with Sammy's vocals, and thank you again for painting that picture of Sammy taking you on journeys, because a good lead singer needs to do that to you. Keith Richards is lucky he's got Mick Jagger doing that. Mick Jagger has that ability of putting on a character when he's singing. I'm not saying that Sammy puts on a character, but he has the ability to take you on a journey. So 10 out of 10. Love the song.
Andrew, want me to paint you a picture of me going to the beach on a Thursday night in Cabo with my wife?
No, it's okay.
It's a PG rated show, mate. It's a PG rated show.
No, but I kind of get
We
the
don't
idea.
swear, we don't talk, and we don't want to know about your what you get up to with your wife on a Thursday night at Cabo Wabo.
But yeah, I just want to echo what Steve said too. Thank you for sending us the Christmas email. Thank you. It was a pleasure, and I felt spoilt by it. And yeah, thank you, and all the best to you and your family, Kurt, for 2021. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's the first time that's ever happened where we all gave something a 10.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, I'm good. Okay, we're going into song number 5, source of infection. And through my reading at some point, it was something to do with Eddie was on vacation in Australia and got infected by something. So that was the initial springboard of this song. I take it as something else when I listen to the lyrics. But
Me too.
Yeah. I like the Henron's intro, and it's kind of reminds me of Hot for Teacher, the way it kind of has that swing to it. We talk about different themes. Like we've got the keyboard love songs. We've got Cabo Wabo, where he's taking
Hold
it
on, hold on. He's got some notes to show.
Jesus.
Hot for Teacher. Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've done that before. I mean, I think we did about like 4 albums in a row when I said, oh, there's the Ain't Talking About Love arpeggio riff, like at different speeds. I think we've said that on every album, but yeah, source of infection. So again, I guess, like I was just going to say, you know, Sammy, we've got sort of sometimes there's love songs. Sometimes there's songs that take you on a journey. We've got some that are sort of spiritual, sort of Christian vibe to them. And for me, like hearing this is where we get into this kind of Sunset Strip 80s bands talking about sex directly. And that's where songs lose it for me a little bit, because I want my favorite band to have epicness. I want them like Zeppelin and the Beatles and the Stones, where you can't hack them. But there's times, and there's another song coming up here where it kind of loses me as far as lyrically. Like for me, this song almost feels like it's like a filler to me. This song here is the one out of the whole album. Like I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 overall, and that's actually my lowest ranking on any song on this album is an 8, which is a B and it's a play. But if I had to skip a song, this would be it, and it's a B, and it's just the one that, yeah. I mean, the solo, he's got the horse sounds coming in. It's a fast solo, yeah, and just in general, at the end of the day, it becomes a B for me because it loses me a bit on the lyrics. So I gave it 8 out of 10, and yeah, like I said, if I had to skip a song, this would be the one. So, yeah, go ahead, Kurt.
All right. This is my number 8 song on the album. I actually give it a 5 out of 10. Not my favorite. I actually love the music to the song, but I think I get lost with some of the lyrics you touched on a little bit. It's almost David Lee Rothy, you know, the kind of party type lyrics, which I think in time or in certain songs they work, but for this one it just kind of didn't really catch me like I wanted it to. The alternative title to this song was Source. I think Don Landy is at the very beginning of the song where he says take one. I don't know if you knew that, Brad or Steve or Andrew, but I believe that's Don Landy. I actually love the guitar intro to the beginning of this song, and then the drums kick in. Almost reminds me of Hot for Teacher, which Steve said as well. So another great, I guess, cohesiveness with Ed and Al, and this just shows that Van Halen DNA how those two can just be in sync with each other. So, musically, I think the song's great. I just don't really care too much for the vocals. So 5 out of 10.
Whoa.
Okay. I'm not going to time out anyone.
Uh-oh.
But I'm surprised. I have to say I'm a bit surprised. Source of infection. All right. So, I'll mirror a few things that you guys said. The intro to me, it's very wild on guitar. And I love the stabs, the syncopated, they're capturing those stabs, which is really cool on the drums. Once the song kicks in, I can hear similarities to Van Halen Roth era. The verses are definitely early Van Halen era for me, which is cool because it's the same band, really, different singer. Harmonies are cool, party vibe to the music, real party vibe. And I think you've got to put things in perspective a bit. Like, they're allowed to do party songs too. That's where I think, it's like, okay, we're having a cheeky song now. We'll do this as a cheeky song. We're going to have a bit of fun on this one. And I can actually hear some very cheeky Eddie Van Halen playing, similar to his early days, more so because as obviously Van Halen progressed, he became more of a song dude, and he wrote great songs and he played guitar for the song. But I can hear a little bit of his early cheeky sort of playing creeping in on this song overall. The song's a bit of a step sideways for this era of Van Halen, but I still really enjoy it, and I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what you've said, Brad. It's a 8 out of 10 for me. It's not my favourite Van Halen song. It's a party vibe album, and this is a song that's definitely in that vein, and dovetails, into that theme, of Van Halen. Interesting that our other co-hosts made the connection to David Lee Roth, because I didn't. And on reflection now, I get it. I think that's a very good analysis. So I might kind of listen to that song a little bit differently now. And I've got a question to ask you guys. So the fact that you've picked up a David Lee Roth vibe, do you think that was something maybe consciously that the band or Sammy was trying to do?
I reckon they've pulled it out of the vaults, mate, and they've gone, this was written back in the early 80s or something, and they've revisited maybe that song, and Sammy's just come up with something to suit that song, which is, you can't really write much around what early Van Halen have done other than that way, in my opinion, because they sound cheeky, they sound a bit, party vibey. So that's my take on it. I reckon it's probably something that they've had sitting, on a shelf archived and a bit dusty, and they've re-dusted it off, and Sammy's put his stamp on it. Maybe that's, my take on it anyway. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I guess for me, when I just look at the track listing, I had a friend that Mine Oh Mine was his favorite song, and I'm always listening to that, and I'm trying to figure it out. Why don't I like it the same? And When It's Love, I know Andrew loves that song, and I say this every time, Andrew, but if the females are in the room, I'm playing that. It has that epicness to it, and I know they're going to understand. AFU, I'm going to play it for a sports team. It's awesome. It's huge. It's great. Cabo Wabo, it's my favorite song in the entire history of the band. Okay, Source of Infection, who's going to love this song? All these other songs, I know someone that loves that song. That's why I said that this seems like a bit of a filler to me. In the track listing, I'm going Source of Infection. I'm not going to know anyone that loves this song, as their favorite song. That's all. And it has references to Hot for Teacher in the early years of Van Halen for sure. It's just lyrically, all of a sudden I'm let down. As soon as they go to that, I call it sort of that 80s cheese, just singing directly about sex. You're not being creative or imaginative. I mean, my 13-year-old cousin's kid, my cousin's kid that's 13 could write a stupid lyric like that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Steve, I think we got to remember too that when Van Halen are releasing these albums, 13-year-old and 14-year-old boys are going to listen to this album. So when you're 13 and 14, there's something going on, and so maybe Van Halen are purposely directing a song to that statistic, that group, that cohort, or whatever you want to call it. Is that necessarily bad on their behalf as far as songwriters and musicians go?
No, I'm not saying that. I gave it an 8. Like, it's a B. I'll play it.
Yeah.
It's a B. I'll play it. But when you got these songs that are 9s and Goosebumps with 10s, and I compare it to this, like looking at it as a 49-year-old, it's kind of a letdown for me. When I hear the lyrics, it's a letdown. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. And Brad, I'll agree with you on maybe this was something out of the vault, and maybe, and I'm just spitballing here and it's not facts, but maybe David Lee Roth had some vocals to the music, but they wanted Sammy to put his spin on it. So maybe he used some of what David Lee Roth had already written and added some of Sammy's, he was a horny guy, right? Sammy was a horny guy.
That's what I was just about to touch on.
A hybrid. So.
I was just about to touch on the fact that you also got to remember these are grown men, and yes, I do believe that, I'm like, I don't want to get too personal. I'm a single guy, and I think like sometimes like a male, and I write song lyrics, whether they're deep.
Very happy to hear that.
Also, I actually, one of my singles, I wrote a song really cheeky because I was feeling that way, and I sometimes think it's okay to do that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean they've proved themselves on a songwriting level that they can write deep, meaningful songs and love songs, and it's like they get cheeky and they I mean it's a man thing, it's a man's right to feel that way at times. So yeah, I think it's okay in a sense, Steve, to still write like When It's Love, and then write something like
Source of Infection.
We're coming up to a song, Finish What You Started. I don't want to touch on that yet, but it's every grown man has been through that context of that song. So they're just writing a funny little ditty about it, in my opinion, and it relate and people connect with it. So yeah, I'll shut up because I'm waffling now, but
you can say whatever you want, Brad.
Yeah. I agree with you to an extent, but I also think, grown men are going to feel that way at times too. And you're talking about rock stars here. These guys have probably experienced way more than the four of us sitting in this chat here.
Kurt mentioned it. What was the word that you used, Kurt? About Sammy. He certainly had a reputation, didn't he?
Yeah, horny.
Yeah, that's the word.
Andrew,
I'm trying to keep it clean, Andrew, in the context of our channel, but I think it's okay in a sense for an artist to write something like Right Now, and then write Pound Cake as well.
Yeah. Look, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip. I get what the song's about. It's fine by me. I suppose the thing is, when we listen to some of these albums, at what stage do we actually sit and work the lyrics out? I suppose we're quite lucky because this album here came already, if you bought the LP, already came with the lyrics, didn't it? So some of the other albums that we've brought over the years, you've had to decipher the lyrics and work the lyrics out, and but we actually got the lyrics there, so there was no mistaking what the songs were about. And obviously you can put your own interpretation on any song, but it's not a skip for me. It's just a good party song. I get what Steve's saying though. You know, did you call it a filler, Steve? Is it a filler song?
I gave it an 8 out of 10. It's a B. It's a play. But because I've ranked so many of these songs at like 8.5 and 9s and 10s, it ends up being my lowest ranking at an 8. So part of the hardest part of this show every time is what's your skip. So at the end of the day, am I going to be okay? Am I going to play for a lady? Am I going to play her When It's Love, or going to play Source of Infection? I'm going to play When It's Love. If my uncle
depends what kind of lady it is.
My uncle walks up to me, I'm going to play AFU Naturally Wired. I'm not going to play Source of Infection. Like this whole album, the one song that I play the least for anyone, I wouldn't even play Source of Infection for someone because of the lyrics. You're not taking me on a journey. You're being direct about sex. I'm not. Yeah. Give me a journey.
The intro. Yeah, the intro was pretty. The intro's pretty interesting.
That's why I gave it a B, and I gave it a play, because musically, sure, but sorry, it's not a 10 because the lyrics don't do anything for me.
So
I get it.
So Brad and I talk about, we think it could have been a retread or something out of the vault. Think about this. Right before the solo, where he says, "Hey Eddie, say what? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Wax it down. Ready, set, go." And then he does the solo. Who does that sound like?
It sounds like David Lee Roth, doesn't it? With Vi. Yep.
I never thought about that.
Well, but another part of that is, like on Live Without a Net, when you watch Best of Both Worlds, the intro to the Best of Both Worlds, and we're going to get into this when we talk about the 5150 album, like they were doing that at the beginning of Best of Both Worlds. Live in concert, the talking back and forth Eddie and Sammy did. So that's right on Live Without a Net. You can see it. So that was a theme that was going on in like 86, 87, where the guitar, the fancy sort of hammer-on style guitar players, and we're doing that sort of thing. I know the guys in White Lion with Vito Bratta on guitar would do that sort of thing with, I think his name's Mike Tramp, the lead singer of White Lion. So that was a theme that was going on there with the guitar players in the 80s. And I mean, there was a whole thing about that too. Well, I don't know if this is kind of this is the era though. 88, sort of right in that span, 87 to 89, there was like the Steve Vai solo albums were coming out, Joe Satriani, where it was a big show. We got to show how well you can play. That thing was going on. And this whole talking thing, it was something that, both eras were doing at that time. David Lee Roth with Steve Vai and Eddie and Sammy for sure. Yeah.
There was different rivalry there, without doubt.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've learnt something. Thanks, guys.
Oh, good. Really?
I think I learn something every time I come on here now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so do I.
Are we going on to song 6?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Feels so good. So like Kurt said, this sort of gets me in that beach mode. So back to the keyboard thing, and I apologize to Andrew, but for me, I actually like this song more than When It's Love when I get to the end of it, and that's okay. I love the solo in this song. I just love the delivery of this solo on this song for some reason. It really works for my ears for some reason. I love the background vocals in this song. I say that on most of these songs. I think michealanthony really shines. And again, going back to one of the first shows when we did A Different Kind of Truth, like one of the things that was missing, michealanthony's wasn't in the band at the time. So, but this is where I think he shines the best on this album for me. What else did I say here? And sort of a reference to the band The Police. I'll send a message in a bottle, which is sort of a standard thing. A guy standing on a beach and puts a note in a bottle for a woman and throws it out into the ocean. It's kind of cool. very radio friendly again. Like every time the keyboards are involved with this band, I think it's radio friendly and ready to go. I mean, obviously it wouldn't do as well as When It's Love did, sort of on any kind of charts or anything. I get that, but myself personally, I enjoy this song more than I do When It's Love when I hear the songs. It's definitely an A for me. I'm giving it 9 out of 10. I guess it just lacks something as far as the goosebump factor, because I do like the rockin' side of Halen more. But yeah, I think it's a fun song, and yeah, there's just something about it, just the whole vibe of the song I really enjoy, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Kurt?
All right. Well, Alan Garber just said Feel So Good was the song that he was talking about when he set his string tree on his 5150. Pretty cool. Thanks, Alan. So for me, this is my second favorite song on the album. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Third single release from the band, and it was actually the third song that they wrote on the album. The video, we talked about it, brought back to Frankie, which was cool after a 4-year hiatus of not seeing it in public. Kind of the cool, softer keyboards in the song. I love, this was another one that I would slide in the mixtape with When It's Love and Love Walks In and junior high trying to get the ladies. Let's see. Kind of like what Steve said, the beach theme. Every day I watch the tide roll in, send a message in the bottle. So for me, this song's kind of a prelude to Cabo Wabo. And it's ironic, those are my two favorite songs on the album. So for me, this is a go-to for the album. I love this song. I love the keyboards. And this is maybe I'll give it a 10.5 out of 10 for Brad.
If you love it that much, you got to give it 20 out of 10, bro.
Yeah, right. Either a 10 or a 20. Come on.
I hope I don't get timed out for my rating then.
You can say whatever you want, Brad.
Yeah, for me, obviously it's more of a commercially viable song for Van Halen, which they were really good at doing by this stage. Highlights how well they wrote songs and melody. I do really enjoy the song. The synth, it's very synth driven. Great dynamics. The vocal delivery from Sammy is very dynamic as well. He sings soft and he gives it when he needs to, and the harmonies are really cool. The solo jumps out, highlights some killer whammy bar playing, and I mean overall it's a great song. Obviously very radio friendly, and I gave it 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I guess generally we'd agree. Like When It's Love, they would still play that song live. I never saw them play Feel So Good live. Like I get it. I understand why When It's Love would be played live right up through Balance, I think, on that tour. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's just it's a goosebump thing. Maybe I get it from this song. I think it's something to do with the intro. Like I like the keyboards in it. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I love the song. It's a song that I've always sung along to, and it's an easy song to sing to when you're cruising. You're not having to battle with the music or sing above the music. It's it's a beautiful song, and I can understand why Kurt would want to include that on his most famous tape collection.
Mixtape.
Yeah. I could understand.
Memorex, 90 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, wow. I could understand why that would get a nod on there. Look, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. And again, I just want to echo something that Brad said. One of the great things about Van Halen as a songwriting team, as a songwriting force or unit, they can come out with the radio-friendly songs. And again, is that necessarily a bad thing or a critical thing? It's, it's just, what's the word that they like to use today? It's shows the band's diversity. And they certainly had it, didn't they? Yeah, great song.
And this era too, bands wrote for an album. They didn't write. They wrote a couple of singles, but the continuity of the album was important to them. So they had to have lifts, ups and downs, And that's one thing going back through these records is very apparent that they're writing an album. They're not writing a song just to release to get exposure. So
yeah, appreciate that. Cheers, Taylor 315. Thank you for digging the show. We appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
So what are we up to? Finish what you
started. So real quick,
Steve,
before we move on, looking in the Van Halen Encyclopedia, it says here that part of "Feels So Good" was in the Wildlife soundtrack. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's the keyboards. Yeah, that relate to something that was in one of the songs in the Wildlife, and I bring it up all the time. Like it's part of Eddie Van Halen that unfortunately gets missed because everybody talks about Eruption and Spanish Fly and the intro to Mean Street and all the guitar dynamics and the development of the Floyd Rose and all the guitar stuff. But it's such a shame that the keyboard stuff gets sort of put in the background. And ironically, like Jump, the biggest keyboard song they ever had actually went #1. That song. So it's interesting to me that it's not talked about a lot, and I'm always disappointed when I look at all these guitar magazines. I mean, they're guitar magazines, so what are they going to show? They're going to show the guitars. I get it, but it's just a side of him that's unfortunate for me, and I'm always disappointed by that not enough people talk about the keyboard playing, because it's even hard for me to think of a keyboard song that they've done that I don't really like. Like I like it all, and I wish that more people would be interested in like the exploration of that and what's in the vault at the 50 studio. Yeah.
Steve, I want to just jump in and agree with you and just point something out that may upset some viewers who might go back and watch replays of the show, but it's interesting that some Van Halen fans use the keyboard aspect of Van Halen to beat up a version of Van Halen, which I just don't get. And we've spoken about this on previous shows, haven't we? About how that happens, and it does happen. And I think we've all agreed that we see the continuity, and it's just a wonderful point that Steve's just made. That's Van Halen. That's Eddie Van Halen doing the keyboards, guys. It's nobody else. It's the man himself. So, wake up.
Yeah, I got two things to say about that. Go ahead, Steve. I'll go after you.
Sorry. Yeah, guys, it was just the mid-'80s. There's a bunch of bands. Like I know certainly the band Rush. I mean, on Rush's stage in the mid-'80s, like 86, 87, like Geddy Lee, the bass player and the vocalist in the band, he had lots of keyboards on the stage, and it was the theme. There was Howard Jones, that artist. There was, I think, I don't know, Steve Winwood. Like there's a few different artists. Thomas Dolby. There was lots of stuff there on
Billy
keyboard.
Joel.
Yeah,
Duran.
I have to admit, I it's an avenue of music when I was a kid in the mid-'80s there, and I'm so interested in that, and I listen to that a lot when it comes up. Yeah, when it comes up on the radio now, it's a phase that was in music for like 3 years there, where it's really appealing to me. The keyboard music at the time in the 80s there, there's just something about it that I get the goosebumps from. Actually, I do. And Eddie Van Halen said it himself. He said this 5150 studio here, this was paid for because of the song Jump. So it's interesting, isn't it? The biggest departure they ever took was Jump, and hey, it paid for his studio. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So two things I want to say before we move on. One, Johnny Bean, I know he actually values Eddie's keyboards probably more than he does his guitar. So you hear Eddie's interviews, and he actually said that he wrote half of the songs on records he wrote on piano before he put them onto in guitar. So a lot of the riffs, like Unchained, was written on piano or keyboards before he put it in guitar. So that's really cool. A lot of people don't know about. And two, just a funny story that I want to share about Eddie since he's no longer with us. That, he played piano. That was his first instrument. He played piano on the boat from Netherlands over here. But his parents put him through classical music lessons. And he actually learned how to play piano by watching his music teacher's fingers. And he would mimic what he saw his teacher do by seeing it and then repeating it. And he got caught by his teacher because his teacher was playing a song and he asked Eddie to change the pages on the songbook. And Eddie didn't know when to turn the pages because he had no idea where he was at on the song. So he got busted. Have you guys heard that story before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I always love hearing that story or telling that story.
Yeah.
He was a genius.
Yeah, definitely what you said about like him as a young boy, like first learning the piano. That's for me when it translates on the guitar with all like the hammer-on stuff and the kind of classical music you can sort of hear coming through him when he does like unaccompanied solos. There's certain little fills and runs that he's done in his unaccompanied solos with the tapping, like it sounds like a violin almost. That's definitely has to be coming through him from when he was a kid learning the piano. As far as my ears go when I listen to the stuff, like I watch YouTube shows of like the 1984 tour and some of the stuff he does in his unaccompanied solo, and yeah, you can definitely hear this classical influence coming through him, which for me is coming through him from playing the piano as a kid. Yeah.
I see, Brad, you got a guitar now.
Yes.
It's just my leaning post.
It's his main.
And then real quick before we move on, I think this album has probably the most underrated solos out of any album altogether. I think almost every song on this album has pretty dynamic solos, and I think they're overshadowed.
Yeah, there's a lot of alien-like playing in those earliest tracks, like I said, and so yeah, he was really stretching himself. I think I mentioned it in the first song. He's really stretching himself on this record as a player, but also keeping in context of what he does well, which is play with feel, So
yeah, I think he was trying to prove a point.
Yeah, definitely.
Just give me a sec, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to do a quick shout out while the Runmeister gets something. Thanks, James, for joining us. Thank you for the kind words. The co-hosts and I do appreciate the support. Thank you, Johnny. Taylor315, thank you. We appreciate it. We're just four guys hanging out, just sharing some opinions on Van Halen. And I just want to echo what Kurt said earlier. Put your guys' comments in the chat and we'll get to them. It's always our intention to. As the show goes through. Brad, can you do me a favour? Can you make a comment in the chat so I can make you a moderator to the show, please, bro? If you can do that. That's the only way I can do that.
Yeah, I'll log in and do that. No problem. But I'll do that in a second. It's there's a really good interview with Eddie in about 2015. I think we've discussed this once before, where he's you guys might be able to mention the exact name of the interview it was, but he's got a crowd and he's obviously his family's in the crowd. He talks about the piano and things like that, everything that you mentioned there, Kurt. So it's really good. It's about 2015, guys. Go have a look for it. Maybe we might even share the link to it somewhere. And yeah, it's really quite an interesting thing. And he talks about Jimmy Page doing the hammer-on thing.
It was the interview to when they opened up the Smithsonian exhibit,
yeah.
And he was being interviewed by I can't remember her name, but yeah, that's the one.
It escaped me, but I think everyone should go and watch that if you haven't. It's very important.
It's a good one.
Unfortunately, the interviewer could have asked a few more in-depth questions, but never mind. Yeah, I do want to echo what Brad said. Given that, though, I suppose we're just, Van Halen nerds and sort of saying, hey, what are the settings? But But yeah, no, it's an informative interview, and we've probably seen it a couple of times each, haven't we, over the years?
Yep.
It's yeah, I think it's probably going to be one of the groundbreaking ones. What's really interesting about that interview, though, is that chick's trying to get him to say it was Jimi Hendrix, and he gets a little bit sort of. No, it was Clapton, which is pretty interesting. He's quite forceful in that reply. Wasn't, as much,
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry for interrupting.
So we're up to finish what you started, Steve.
Is it in the box?
Yeah, we just finished song 6, so we got to do what's in the box.
Yeah. Hold on, dudes. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 5150 show has the pleasure of presenting the Rummeister, Steve Anderson, with this week's What's in the Box with the Rummeister.
All right.
I got to see the jewels in the 3-lock box again.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys,
what's in the box?
Yeah, this one came in. This is from France. So it says Eddie Van Halen, 1955 to 2020. Basically, guys, if I see a cool cover of a magazine, I'm pretty much all in. So I thought that was a cool shot of Eddie that actually maybe I hadn't really seen before. So that makes it sort of more interesting. So I'd probably say, yeah, he's playing the Frankenstein. It's got a black headstock on it. I'd probably maybe say the women and children first era, I would guess. But I'm sure Alan Garber's going to correct me, and I'm fine with that. Yeah, so cool magazine that came in from France.
Hi, John.
It goes through the albums. We've seen this photo before. That's Eddie with this is the era when like 2007 when they did the EVH brand did the Frankenstein replica that was super expensive, like $25,000 US for a guitar that he built for like probably $300 or something. Yeah,
if that.
Yeah. So it goes through the albums, and yeah, pretty cool. I just like magazines that have a different album cover on them. It shows a bunch of his guitars. Some of them are EVH ones. There's a Charvel Bumblebee on there. Yeah, so pretty standard stuff. And it goes through some of the amps. You see his old Marshall at the top. There's the PV5150. There's an EVH on the bottom, and some of the pedals that you can get, the EVH branded pedals. All the writings in French. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was a cool cover. And for anyone in North America, this one came out. This is Life magazine, and has Van Halen with David Lee Roth on the cover. So yeah, this is in every grocery store. So this is jam packed with Van Halen stuff all through the years. What's interesting is this one here. This is Eddie with the bumble. This is Eddie with the bumblebee. And he's actually got some kind of earring that I guess it might be a clip-on.
Looks like a bone. Looks like a bone, right? Or a tooth or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if his ear was actually pierced or not. Someone will probably chime in if they know that. I just like it when I see photos I haven't seen before. Yeah.
Andrew, do you have that magazine?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll put it with the other one.
Oh my gosh.
He's going to get a big box sent to him. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get to something here.
Hey, Luca. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Yeah, and any time I see anything to do with the Sammyhagar area and the guys look like they're having a ball, I really, this is my favorite era of the band, sort of 5150 and OU812. But I like it to see them having a good time. One of the things about this era is, though, I know the guys drank a lot, and they were partying a lot, and I think things sort of mellowed out kind of after once you get into like the unlawful carnal knowledge era. I think that's when it kind of started to mellow out a bit. But yeah. And this is the guys getting gold albums for 5150.
Wow.
So that's something I always look for is if I can get an actual, they're called Record Industry Awards, so RIAA Awards. They're pretty cool. I see there's another podcast I'm involved with, and some of the guys have like a whole like room. their back wall is full of these RIAA awards.
Wow.
Some are fakes, but I'd never get a fake one. They're tough to get.
I have a fake one.
Yeah,
Oh,
to get
wow.
an original one's very difficult. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's got good photos in this one, and it's all Van Halen on it. And what's cool is the 5150. I always like to see new photos of the 5150.
Yeah.
And the 5150 here. So it doesn't have the decals on it yet. If you look at his right wrist, the 5150 decals aren't on the guitar yet. So that's very like the first like quarter of the 1984 tour. You'll see photos of the Kramer 5150, and it doesn't have the decals on it yet. And then all of a sudden, like around halfway through the tour, all of a sudden you'll see the decals are put on. So that leads me into my next unboxing thing.
Real quick, Steve. I'm going to share 3 magazines right while you get your box ready. I'm just going to show them, just the covers. Yeah. You guys have this one?
It's on the way.
It's on the way. That's a good one. This one's okay. I like the cover more than anything.
What's in it?
Wow.
What's in it, Kurt?
I'm getting there here. Just show a few pages.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything with the Sammy Hagar era, or is that strictly David Lee Roth era?
Oh, these Sammy. Oh no, that's
Dave.
David.
That's Dave.
Yep.
This is a cool pick I'd never seen before.
Right.
Oh wow.
And that's Ted Templeman on the bottom right there.
Yep. With this blonde hair. Here's Rob Johnson with long hair. And baggy pants.
Sensei Johnson.
So I don't know, Steve. You make the call if you think it's worth getting. And then this one. Do you have that one?
It's on the way.
Here's the best part about this one. It comes with this.
Oh wow.
Which is just loaded with all good stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, guys. So I was in a rush the last 2 days. I wanted to present. Here's the 5150 I did recently, and it's got the black stripes on it. I showed you this when it didn't have the black stripes on it. One of the key things is the headstock here, and people don't know this, but the black stripe does actually come like about halfway over the side. Most people just look at the face of it. They just look at the face. Oh, okay, I put the black stripe just on there, and it doesn't go over the top, and it doesn't go over the back of the headstock. But it definitely, you'll see it obviously when Eddie's playing it at this angle. Definitely when he plays it as a tray in the 1984 tour, you're going to see that this black stripe does come halfway over. I'm in a Facebook group, and people yell and scream and argue about everything to do with
Steve.
this. Yeah.
I made the mistake. I didn't do it correctly. Check mine out.
There you go.
Here.
And yeah, and the other big one is this one here. This stripe that's at the bottom of the guitar. This stripe comes over the side and comes up like over. It's the only one that goes over the stripe, and it doesn't go onto the face, so you don't see it when you're just looking at it straight on. But if you look, I have a photo from the 5150 tour book, and it definitely plain as day. This is the one that everybody misses. Even
Wow.
the guy one of the guys who has his own company and yells and screams and thinks he's the guy, he doesn't have this right. But no, it's just one of those things. Like you're building, a replica, and this guitar is fascinating to me. All these stripes, some of them stop on the side stripes, some of them don't, some of them go over. And Andrew, if you
see, I didn't do it right, but here's the beauty of this: is I can fix that.
You can fix that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're showing us the back there, Steve.
Yeah. So the key with this is, guys, if anybody is doing a Kramer 5150 and you want the correct plate, the serial number is B4129. And so there's a company, you go to www.frets, like guitar frets, frets on the net. And there's a super nice guy there. I had about 10 of these made because I build these all the time. And so that's the correct serial number on this. There's other people out there who make one that's called, it reads C, letter C, and then 5150. That's just somebody throwing out false information. If you want the actual Kramer 5150 serial number neck plate, it's B4129. And super nice guy. And as soon as this guitar is finished, I'll put it up on the pages and thank a whole list of people I got to thank that have given me all incredible information about this guitar. Again, the web pages, everyone's fighting and screaming about the paint. So,
are you selling that, Steve?
Yeah. I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you off air. There's always something is going out the door here as far as building goes. I'll tell you off air what's going on. But anyway, so back to what I had mentioned to you before. So this guitar here, it's known as 1982 Chevy Red Orange, and the paint code is WA7753. The paint card is 71, so that's what they used to put on Chevy vehicles in 1982. And so
same color.
So that's what you've got. Awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, this is an example. This is I went to an auto parts company and they mixed me 3 cans of this. That's supposed to be the color that's used for this. And then this is the white that I use. It's called Duplicolor. It's called Ford Wimbledon White. That's the white that you're supposed to use. And this is called Duplicolor Flat Black. There's 3 different types of black. You can get flat
universal black.
Yeah, and you can get glossy black and universal. So this is the flat black. And so what I'll do, guys, I'm just going to hold up. I have a few different 5150s here, so I just want to see if you can tell the paint difference.
Let me show the back of mine, Andrew. It's relic.
Yep. Hold on. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, back to Steve. There we go.
Yeah, guys. So I don't know if you can tell on the screen at all which would be, like different colors. I would say that this one here, I'm sort of wiggling with on your right. This was the way I used to do them with. It's called Schwinn bike paint. This was all done. This was done all with Schwinn bike paint. It's called Sunset Orange, which would be correct for the Frankie. If you're building a Frankie, when it transformed into like red with black and white stripes, and then this is it's a bit lighter. This is the one with the Chevy Red Orange. It's a bit more orange. And when you really study the 5150, you will notice that it does look more orange. And certainly Eddie was playing a lot of shows outdoors and the sun beats on the thing. And definitely the black stripes on the Kramer 5150 have worn out over the years. So whenever I do these, I really refer to the first versions of the guitar when it was brand new and hand it to Eddie. What did it look like? So that's always what I go for. And yeah, so anyway, all kinds
anyone who's going to make one of these guitars, it's a little scary when you throw that Chevy red orange on the body, because it really looks orange. And by the time you take all the tape off and you add the black and you add all the hardware and you add the decals, it really looks like it's supposed to. But when it's just the bare body and it's just white and orange, it looks orange. When I did mine, I'm like, oh man, this is not the right color. But once you add all the hardware and everything else, it looks correct. Right, Steve?
Yeah.
I was telling them that before you put all the hardware on and the decals and the black stripes, it looks orange. But once you add all the hardware, it actually makes it look correct.
Yeah, and that's the fascinating thing about all these old Kramers from the 80s. Like the Hot for Teacher is a different shade. The Frankie's a different shade. The Neptune guitar is a different shade. They're all made by different people at different times. And yeah, there's one guy, Paul Unkert. He made 18 Kramer guitars for Eddie up to early 82. And then he left Kramer and another guy came in. His name's George Felice. And he's the one that says he figures he probably painted the 5150. There's all kinds of secrets. And again, I can't say it enough, yelling and screaming about what's right, what's wrong. Everybody online thinks they're right. One thing I wanted to show you guys. So this one here is one. And this one I actually have. These are actual 5150 picks from the 5150 tour. Which adds a lot of value to this one. So these picks are pretty expensive to get. I call it getting the 9 that I need. They're a bit sort of, they're almost sort of see-through, but on one side they say 5150, on the back there isn't anything there. They're a little bit see-through. And just anybody that's doing these, there is a guy online on eBay. This is my EVH 5150. There is a guy online who also has these 5150 picks, but it's more of a solid white, and you can get 3 for like $10. So don't think that you're getting like what my other one had. They're a little bit sort of transparent almost. The original picks from the 5150 tour, but just because, I'm on an assault. I build these 5150s. Like I always have one being built, and there's always one going out the door. So it's just a cheaper way for me to get the picks, because I like putting them on here before I send them out the door. So yeah, for $30, I got 9 picks, and the build is complete. Because yeah, the picks are insane right now. Anything to do with original Van Halen stuff, because Eddie's passed away, is super expensive. And at the end of the day, we're building replicas, and I think it's a cool addition to throw on a guitar before I send it out the door, is to get the picks on there. Anyway.
Hey, Andrew, let me show what Johnny is talking about here.
Okay, cool. Hold on, buddy. Yeah, what's he saying? So page 70
page 70 in this Life magazine. I've looked at this thing like 5 times. I didn't realize it. There is a prototype. What were we got here? Wolfgang. If you look at the headstock shape on Eddie's guitar around his body there, that's not the normal Wolfgang head shape. Is that what you're talking about, Johnny?
No.
He says it's one of the first Wolfgangs that he was playing. So this was the first tour with Wolf. So
wow.
I never noticed that. Nice find, Johnny.
Wow.
There you go. So you'll be getting one of these.
Pretty cool.
And you'll be getting one of these.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a question here from who is it? Johnny Heartbreaker. Did he actually paint the back cavity? Yeah, Johnny. So the 5150, as Kurt knows, and Andrew looks at it a lot. I look at every photo I can find of that thing, and it really depends on what year you see it, because the paint wears off. But definitely originally.
Okay.
Some things here. Yeah, the back cavity. I do have a photo of it with the cover plate off, and it was definitely red. One of the main things is I don't have the Floyd Rose on here, but definitely this white stripe is a specific thing that it's definitely there. When this guitar, when it's new, I have photos of the back of it. There's definitely that white stripe goes across, so of course I do it. Yeah, you'll see it on the one on the left.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll
Right
see
there.
it more. Yeah, you'll see it on the
Oh,
left.
yeah. I see it. Yeah.
But,
You can.
But like I said, every 5 years, so the one on the left that Kurt's showing, it's 1992, and the one on the right's 1997. So on the left, it just every 5 years, this guitar gets played in a studio for years and years and years, and the paint starts to wear out, especially the black stripes. So this is just replica talk, and thanks for putting up with this, Brad.
I mean, I'm learning a lot and I'm enjoying it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you offline about stuff, Steve.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
I was
you
just
want,
going to
Brad.
say, Brad,
What?
there could be something in 2021 for you if you want to buy it.
We'll talk off air. We'll talk off air.
Yeah, if you want to, if you have $25,000, yeah.
Yeah, for me, this guitar has been my dream to have since I was 12, 11 years old. And like Steve and like a million other people, you could never buy it. And never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I could build one and play it and have it sound the way it does. It's just awesome. And I actually bought all these parts to build this thing 2 weeks before Eddie passed.
Wow.
I take my hat off to you guys for the amount of detail and the perseverance and the skill level that you guys have to build guitars, because I just take I take my hat off to you guys. Well done. It's
Definitely.
it's amazing.
I echo that, Andrew. Well done.
Yeah. And Brad, if I lived in Australia, I'd build you one.
Oh, thanks. I'd hold you to that if you lived in Australia. Thing is, I would,
Wow.
if I had one, I'd play it. But the problem is, you play one on stage, and people expect you to play like Eddie Van Halen. So
That's correct.
that's the downside to it, because no one
That's-
can play like Eddie. So
Yeah. No, it's definitely a guitar that you wouldn't go and gig with, Brad, unless you were forming a Van Halen tribute band.
exactly.
Aye. Yeah.
More so selfishly to play it at home when you're playing Van Halen songs.
Yeah, it does look good, too,
Oh,
when
right
you walk
on.
by the mirror holding it.
I'd enjoy looking at myself in the mirror holding it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Shirtless.
No. So
Right,
thanks for that.
next
guys.
song.
It was really informative, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Thank you,
All
Steve.
right. I guess we're going on to finish what you started. Okay, guys. So yeah, right away, acoustic intro. Bass sort of sounds. We're getting into the country vein a little bit. I guess what other song in the catalog? I guess Could This Be Magic? On Women and Children First, there's a bit of acoustic guitar going on, and obviously Spanish Fly. Little bit of chicken picking going on in the solo, definitely. So it definitely sort of hits that country vibe. So again, it's sort of Van Halen, like a new territory here with this song, like sort of like the first time you hear Jump with the keyboards, it's a different sound. And with this, it kind of has a different sound to it. Sort of, I guess the themes like me, like a frustration, like runaround, like trying to get a gal and she's giving you the runaround, or come on, girl, finish what you started here. For sort of theme. So this is the innuendo stuff that I don't mind, where they're not like insulting a woman's body part or something. And I mentioned before, it's the intro to that show Sydney that Valor Burton and Ellie had. And I just liked it overall because it was something different. This song would always be played live by the band from here on out. Even on the Balance tour, I believe this song would have been played at some point. And I particularly like versions that Sammy's done. Actually, in the Cabo Wabo Cantina at his birthday bashes, he does I have one from about 1995, and he does a great acoustic version, just basically strumming E and A chords, and yeah, it's a cool song. I like the message to a gal, and because I don't like to see us guys frustrated in relationships, but yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. It's always a play. I guess overall, it's probably, it just doesn't give me the goosebumps like it should for me to give it a 10, but it's definitely an A. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And I like it when the band does something different. And that for me on this record, it fits that category. So I'll leave it at that, Kurt.
All right. This is my 6th favorite song on the album. This is the only song that Eddie ever recorded without a pick. So he did everything with his fingers on this song. Of course, like Steve said, it's got that country vibe, the chicken picking. Alternate names of the song was Baby Come On or Come On Baby. So that was originally what they were going to call it, but they ended up using Finish What You Started. Eddie used the 69 Fender Strat with 5150 etched in the body with the box knife on this song as well. And I'm not sure, Rad, are you going to get into the story about how they wrote this song?
No, you do it. I'm enjoying listening to all your knowledge here with your Bible.
So the song was, I guess, composed when Sammy was trying to get some loving from his wife one night, and Eddie came knocking on the back door of their Malibu beach house because they were neighbors, and Eddie was smoking a cigarette, and Sammy wouldn't let him in because he was smoking, so they sat out on the back porch, and Eddie had a riff for him. Sammy went in and got his acoustic guitar, and they wrote the song until the sun came up. And I guess the lyrics came from Sammy was trying to get some loving from his wife, and they couldn't finish what they started because he was down writing some music with Eddie. So that's kind of what I know. Brad, I'll let you add your 2 cents to what the song is about, but I'm not a big country fan, so this song was a little different for me, obviously with Van Halen. So I've always liked it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Never a skip. Loved the video. It was cool seeing Eddie with cowboy hat and cowboy boots. And they do a great job playing this live.
Yeah. Look, just echoing a little bit what you said there, Kurt, like obviously he wrote it about his relationship not being able to get what he wanted from his wife. So, yes, frustration, written out of frustration, probably more so than anything else. But great, catchy song. Melodies are really well written. The harmonies are fantastic. Like Beatle-like harmonies, in my opinion. Really, really catchy, really well done. You know, come on, baby, please. You know, like that Sammy's like giving like he's just like down on his hands and knees. You can picture him in this song. Like, you know, I love the solo section. It's got that country sort of picking vibe all over it. Overall, the song's constructed really well. It highlights a lighter side a humorous side to Van Halen, which they did in the past, and I think it's okay for bands to do that. I mean, you listen to In Through the Outdoor, Led Zeppelin, and they put Hot Dog on there, and it kind of reminds me of that for a little bit for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
But I really enjoy the song. It's fun, and I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Strictly and utterly because the continuity of the album, it needed this song on there, and it's really well done. They what can I say? Well done, guys. You threw in a country vibe right at the tail end of a record there, just to lighten it up before you get into the next few songs.
And Brad, it was the last song that they recorded on the album.
Okay.
Okay.
I actually read something about that I don't even know if it was going to be on the album, was it? Is that correct, Kurt? You've got the encyclopedia there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I read that too somewhere.
What was that? What was the question?
That it wasn't actually going to be featured on the album, and then it was a late edition.
Yep. It was a late edition to the album's last song they put on the album.
So it was really well
too.
Okay. Well, Kurt, now you've got the. We need to do an intro, Andrew, for Kurt's encyclopedia, Kurt's Bible, the guru.
Man, I told you guys 2 weeks ago when I got this. What's cool about it is there's actually a glossary, and you can look up "finish what you started," and it pulls up 4 or 5 pages where it's referenced, whether it's live on the album, the song itself. This thing's awesome.
I'm going to have to get my hands on that eventually.
Yeah.
Look, I love the song. You want a lover, you want a friend, mama, I can be both of them. I got the tools to satisfy. Come on. Why wouldn't you like that song, It's a love song. It's a love song.
It's a cheeky love song.
Yeah. Look, it's a 9 out of 10. I love that blues, country picking chick. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's a great song. It's never a skip.
Awesome. Would you give it out of 10, Andrew?
9 out of 10.
Nice.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, we're pretty much all close on the same page there. Yeah. The next song is Black and Blue. So this would have been the first song I heard from it. It was on the radio first. I love the bluesy sort of sliding intro to it. It's a cool song to jam. I know Kurt's thrown out these facts about what was recorded first and all this, but I heard versions of Black and Blue, the main riff, was played during the 5150 tour at some of the shows. I got a whole library of the 5150 tour concerts. I can't sit here and say whether it was played in Detroit or Minneapolis or Philadelphia, or I just know that this riff was like it was written at some point, probably around the 5150 tour when they were jamming backstage or something. But I have seen that this riff was played before this album came out on that tour. It's a cool song to jam to. It's very accessible as a guitar player. So it was immediately like, oh my God, I can't wait. I got to learn this song. And right away I was like, put it on a tape. And like, you guys know, like Pound Cake, I had a whole side of a cassette that was just Pound Cake. Well, I had a whole side of a cassette that was just Black and Blue.
Yeah.
And because I was just constantly trying to figure out how to play it. And it was accessible to figure out, which sometimes with some Van Halen tracks, it's almost impossible. But there's I really like in between the main riff of the song going through the verses, there's really cool fills that Eddie does that are sort of accessible too as a guitar guy. I love Mikey's vocals on the backgrounds of this song. Cool solo in the song. And for me, just the only thing, again, guys, I say it with these tracks, is as soon as they're directly talking about sex, it kind of loses a mark for me, because I like, it's just an overall listening thing. And I'm sorry we're going back to this, but we're talking about this song and it's directly about sex. I like it when it's cheeky innuendo or take me on a journey, talk about love, but when you're going to talk directly about sex, I mean, that's where Van Halen has a problem with, like, the categorizing, like, you know, against the Beatles and the Stones and Zeppelin, and these kind of songs are the things that sort of downgrade them a bit from being so classic and epic. And the word for me is timeless. Like a lot of those other bands I mentioned, it's just that subject matter. I'm sorry, a lot of women get offended. That's fine. It's still my favorite band of all time. I'm just saying, like, as a 49-year-old sitting here observing these songs, that's where I've had girls. I was at a birthday party once, and I put in Right Here, Right Now, and I put in the video. We're playing Pound Cake, and as soon as a girl was standing there listening to it going, oh, can we put something else in, please? This is offending me. And I went, whoa. Like, so I have changed over the years as far as lyrically what works for this band to make them classic and timeless. It's just for me, these direct sexual lyrics kind of, I understand, like, the women's perspective on being, like, good enough, like grade A piece of meat, and being, okay, I like the music as a female, but what you're saying is completely offending me. Like, I understand their perspective. So when I'm going to sit here on a YouTube show that's sort of global here and give it a ranking and recommend what I'm going to play for someone, okay, the female audience, I'm going to When It's Love. It feels so good. Finish What You Started, maybe. And I have no problem playing Mine Oh Line for someone. But when I get to a song like this, I got to give it 9 out of 10. It's still an A for me because I love the music. And there's lots of females like that. We love the music, but don't compare my vagina to a pound cake. Like, it's just offensive, right? Anyway, it's a really tasty song, like, guitar-wise, to play it and listening to it. So yeah, for me, it's still an A. It's still, I'm giving it 9 out of 10, but I have to take a mark off because lyrically, it just sort of loses it for me. Speaking sort of like what, for anybody to listen to this, I understand that people aren't going to want to listen to this because of the sexual not even innuendo. It's direct, right? Anyway, I'll stop talking about it, and Kurt, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Steve. Black and Blue. It's down a little bit on the top 10, number 7. This is Sammy being Sammy with the sexual lyrics. I won't dive too deep into that. Once again, I love the Kramer 5150 plugged into the Marshall. The guitar really works for this song. For me, the best part of this song is the solo. I'm not going to say it's alien-like, but it's Eddie in a package. What's that?
That's Brad's line. He's the only one that's not to say it.
To me, this is Eddie doing like 4 or 5 of Eddie, like, characteristic solos. He's showing off his licks. I mean, on my notes here, I love the hammer-ons, the pull-offs, the tapping, the dive bombs. And then at the very end of the solo, he finishes it with this layering with either 2 tracks of guitar or some sort of delay. I'm not sure, but it just sounds awesome. This is probably the second song I've referenced on this album that I really love the music, but I didn't really like the lyrics or the lyric on it. So Black and Blue, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I like the song, not necessarily like the lyrics. I mean, it's okay. When I was 13, it was funny to listen to Sammy say bitch for the first time or whatever at the beginning. But yeah.
Andrew, are you okay?
No.
Yeah, Kurt, so we were talking about it before. Just the direct sexual lyrics. I can understand why it would offend a woman, right? But as we talked about it earlier, like when you're a young guy, like we all are, and listening to this band who's full of all guys, I understand the aspect of let's have a direct sexual song. I get that. And as a 13, 14-year-old, so when this came out, I was 16. Oh, yeah, man, Black and Blue, this is awesome. First single and everything else. And I was thinking more of it musically and trying to figure it out on a guitar. And then now, 30-something years later, as I'm listening to it, an adult, I understand, like, you know, Kurt has daughters, right? I don't want Kurt's daughters listening to this, right? Anyway.
They probably listen to worse than that, though.
No, I understand that. But, yeah, anyway.
I get it. Yeah, I get it, Steve.
Black and blue. Time out, time out.
20 out of 10 for Brad.
No, look, I really love this song. I'll go through my notes. Dreamy, swirly intro leaning to carnal knowledge era guitar playing. I love that. Really nice swing on the drums. Slight AC/DC vibes with the riff. I'm going to touch on that in the next song as well. The chorus melody is great. The harmonies are killer. The pre-solo and solo, that Ed playing percussively, then the tap almost, and the dives, sort of mirroring what Kurt said. And then that, you know, delay there at the end. It definitely, I think someone even commented there that it is delay. It's like he's off, you know, on another plane and makes us all feel inadequate as mere mortals, you know. Like Ed's playing on it's great. I love the breakdown section after the solo. I just love the great swing in the song.
Yeah.
The lyrical content, well, you know, there are women that do appreciate guys talking like this too. So they're catering for women like that. And the other thing is too, for guys, the amount of testosterone in the band is very heightened with a bunch of 4 musicians that have probably seen and heard a lot worse things than any of us could ever imagine. Backstage, I'm talking about, and in hotel rooms. So they're just having fun putting it in a song. It's not really designed to really offend anyone. I don't think they even would think about that when they're writing it. But you also got to remember, this is 30 years ago, and some of the music that comes out today, even when you listen to the lyrical content of some of the songs that teenagers are listening to today, is way worse. So
Carby B singing the songs about her vagina.
Yeah, about, you know, I don't want to say the words. So in a sense, because we're trying to keep the show, you know, clean and tidy. We're not trying to go down a path. But look, honestly, I understand. I totally get where you're coming from with the lyrical content, guys. And I'm not trying to like go against you guys or argue with you or debate against you. I'm just seeing it in a completely different light. That's all. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I won't go on about it. I'll hand it over to Andrew. But I love the song. I love the lyrics. I love the vibe. But overall, I just love the swing of this song. It just makes me want to pick up my guitar and start playing along to it. And, you know, yeah.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Brad. I think the key with the song is that swing. That opening riff was one of the first riffs that I learnt to play from, and it's pretty easy, you know. Well, you know, yeah, it's pretty easy, but it's certainly got a swing. There's a swing going on there, which, again, it's behind the beat, and it's something, you know, because I'm a Rolling Stones nut, and the Rolling Stones do that really well. They're always a little bit behind the beat, and when you hear that in another band doing that, and it can just about fall apart, and they even translate that really well live when they play the song live. So lyrical content aside, because I think Brad and my other co-hosts have already discussed that, so I won't even add an opinion on that, but the music is fantastic. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip, and one of the all-time opening great Van Halen riffs. I love it.
Right on.
Rummeister.
Yeah, so song 9 we're at, Sucker in a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got pick slides at the beginning, the tapping harmonics. I like the Again, Alex Van Halen sort of shines on this track for me. I love the dynamics and the drumming at the beginning of this. It reminds me, when it gets going, it reminds me of Eddie's performance on Saturday Night Live. They called it Stompin' 8H. We'll get into 5150 the next show, but there was a demo of a song called I Want Action is the name of it, and that's basically that riff that he did on Saturday Night Live, which is one of my favorite musical performances by Eddie himself on Saturday Night Live. It sort of reminds me of that song a bit. I love the background vocals on this song. Michealanthony, when he hits that high register, it's, I don't know, it gets that goosebump factor for me, hearing Michealanthony. I'm a big Michealanthony fan, as you guys know. So yeah, I like that part of it. And just overall, back to the guitar sound. This is where, he's probably playing the Kramer 5150 into this. I'm sure Kurt's going to go into his encyclopedia, but this is the guitar sound I love, which stems back, certainly with 1984 album, like Panama. This is the end. This is the end of, this guitar sound, and we're into Forunlawfulcarnalknowledge, the Ernie Ball and the peaveyamps and the big, huge sound. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, there's different eras of this band. People yell at me to love early Van Halen, but I tell them I'm sorry I came into this in 5150. And this is one of the songs that has that tone that I like the most. That's a personal preference. Because it sounds accessible. It's his electric Kramer guitar into some few effects and into an amp. His old Marshall, great. I like it. It's accessible. That's Eddie Van Halen to my ears. And this end of the 80s is the end of that. For me, Sucker in a three-piece, I'll play it. It's 8 out of 5 out of 10. It's not, I guess lyrically, maybe it's not doing something for me that would push it into an A for me to a 9, but I always play it. I'll crank this song, no problem, and I'll leave it at 8.5. I'm happy with that. Go ahead, Kurt.
So, Sucker in a three-piece. This is me.
Hold on. Oh my gosh, there he is.
I wear a suit and tie every day for work. Believe it or not.
I used to.
What's that?
I used to about 20 years ago.
So now with the way things are, I'm working from home, so I can wear this or whatever unless I got to get on a video call. But Sucker in a three-piece is Sammy's way of making fun of how a guy can dress up in a suit and tie and a woman will fall for him because they think he's successful just because of what he's wearing. So just a piece of information. If you guys didn't know what the song is about, that was Sammy's way of making fun of the businessman and why they have to wear a suit and tie to be successful when that probably really doesn't matter. It's just like icing on the cake. This is actually one of Rob Johnson's favorite Sammy era songs. I always, watching all of his videos, he always talks about Sucker in a three-piece suit. He wants to see Sammy, play it live with Van Halen again. So that's my barrage to Rob today, since he's probably working tonight and couldn't be here. I love this song. The intro with the isolated guitar, which is the Kramer plugged right into the Marshall. Like Steve said, it gives me goosebumps and speaks Van Halen. And then when Alex drums come in, it's just awesome. It's an awesome mix. And here are my notes when I talk about this is where Alex was sober, and Sammy said that Alex had a better rhythm with his playing, and he lost some of his spunk and some of his heavy beats when he stopped drinking. And obviously you can hear a little bit of it in this album, but I give this song an 8 out of 10, and it's my fourth favorite song on the album.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah, well, I'm going to mirror a bit of what you said there, Kurt, just with the guitar isolation at the front end of the song. It's got that squishy guitar tone. I call it squishy. I don't know if that's the right terminology for it, but it sounds squishy and sticky to me, with the tap harmonics mixed in there with the dives on the bar. I don't know. It's this song to me, I don't know whether this is written anywhere or whatever, but I can hear AC/DC vibe in this. Maybe it's because I'm an Aussie. I can really hear just some very Malcolm Young chordal things going on. Still very Eddie, but the thumping
Eddie
bass
loves
and drum.
AC/DC too.
That's what I thought. Then that's what I knew that, but I don't know whether it's noted. But for me, I can really hear AC/DC in this song. But done Van Halen style, not necessarily very. But I know he loved Malcolm Young as a guitarist, and I can hear that in this song. The thumping bass and drums, and regardless of the weak bass mix, it's pretty cool. The chorus melody is great. The harmonies, as noted everywhere else, are killer. Wild solo section, tapping right hand finger slides. I can hear the finger slides he's doing. After the solo, it's still very AC/DC to me, like especially even more so at the tail end of the song. You can really hear the Malcolm Young influence there on his playing. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. That's never a skip.
Yeah.
Brad and I are like...
Yeah, interesting you should say AC/DC, because that's something that we made connections with when this album came out, because, you know, Back in Black was a huge album that we were listening to, you know, since 1980 or 81 when it came out. So yeah, a bit like the second song where I could hear Clapton in the solo. My friends and I wasn't the only guy that was making the connection with AC/DC. So yeah, kind of interesting that we've picked up on that. Whether or not that's conscious or not, who knows? But I do know, and thanks, Kurt, you know, that for reminding us that they were Van Halen, were AC/DC fans. And you got to remember AC/DC. Sorry, Kurt.
Eddie and Wolf, that was their bonding band. That's what they bonded with.
Yeah. And AC/DC are huge here in New Zealand too, you know. They might be an Aussie band, but they've got a New Zealander playing, you know, Phil Judd, you know, in the two, you know. So we got a Kiwi connection there to them as well. So look, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. I love the lyrics. Sweet little wishbone, oh yeah, don't want to break her in half. You know, I just, you know, just. You know, I love it. I love it because, you know, it brings back, and I'm going to keep reinforcing this, I suppose, with music. When we talk about it, I can just place myself into situations, and it's long, you know, what, 30 years? How old's this album? 32? Yeah, 30 years. Yeah, no, love it. It's never a skip. Never tried to play it. I've never tried to play this song. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about playing parts of the song as guitar players. Is it an easy song? I get the feeling it's not an easy song to play.
Yeah, there's parts of it that are similar to Panama up at the second fret and the D chord. So it sort of relates to Panama a little bit. But yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
For me,
cool.
If it's a song that I want to be able to play, and if I were to pick up my guitar and someone's going to come over to my house and say, hey, play something from Van Halen, I would love to be able to play the intro to this song and like kill it, but I can't. But after doing this show, I'm going to learn it.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay,
So
awesome.
We're always learning something or going to learn something.
Right. How about you, Brad?
Oh, look, I've never tried playing this one, but now that everyone's sort of going to go and have a listen to it, I might do the same.
And then real quick, Andrew, I just looked at the lyrics. She's so fine. How about a 9 on a 10 scale, which I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yes.
With long legs straight up to her lunch pail.
Yes. Look up one side, down the other. Okay, you don't want me singing, but yeah, we get it. We we get
Oh,
it.
man, pedals down a chorus or two, mate.
No, we get it. But yeah, no, great song. Are we going to talk about apolitical blues? Because when I first got this on cassette, that song wasn't on the cassette, and it wasn't until I got the LP, probably about maybe 6 months later, that I first heard the apolitical blues. So we're going to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, for me, it was my friends had the CD, and that was the extra song. And I'm sitting there with the cassette going, how come you guys have an extra? Well, we have CD.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I sold my record player, my cassette player, my albums, everything, my whole collection, and I got a CD player CD player, and I got 5150 and OU812, and that was my start with CDs. Actually, was 5150 and OU812.
Yep.
And since then, I've replaced all the vinyl that I used to have, so it's okay.
Yeah, we got conned, didn't we? They told us that CDs were going to take over and get rid of your vinyl, and you can wash your CDs with your dishes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so yeah, political blues cover song. Yeah, so I guess one of the interviews I remember was Eddie talking about, okay, it was 4 of us in a room and a couple of microphones, and we were covering this song, and I personally like this song. I don't know where you guys stand politically in your lives. I know we don't talk about politics much, but I'm definitely sort of an apolitical person. I'll listen to a politician's 10 points, and I agree with 7 or 8 of them, but there's always a couple things I don't agree with. So I got to be honest. I don't know if this is bad. I don't care. I've never voted in my life for anybody. So that's just a theme that's in this song. It's got the background piano in it, which was kind of interesting. I kind of thought I'd never heard that on a Van Halen song before. That kind of old town 1930s, 1940s piano in the background. So that was interesting that I hadn't heard that before from Van Halen. And I just like jams like this. They're sort of accessible. Like even the guys I jam with, we could probably take a shot at this song, jamming it. Yeah, it's a play for me. I'd say it's like 8 out of 10. I know it's not an original Van Halen song. I find original Van Halen songs are more interesting to me than just a cover song, which I guess at some point we'll get to Diverdown, which has about, 5 or 7 cover tunes on it. But I don't know. I thought it's a cool addition. It's obviously a bonus song because I didn't have this on cassette. All those cassettes, I bought it 5 times on cassette for my ghetto blaster at the beach. But I had to eventually graduate to the CD just so I could get the song. But yeah, I think it's cool. It's a cool addition. It kind of, there's that song on 5150 at the end called The Inside, where it just seems like random chaos in the 5150 studio. But I actually, it's sort of a fun, and I like it. It's a play. I give it 8 out of 10. Kurt, did you listen to this at all?
Not very often.
Okay.
Maybe 3 times.
It's your skip then. On this record, it's your skip?
It's my skip. And
okay.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't be on this show if I couldn't be honest. There's only about 4 Van Halen songs that are skippable. And this with all their albums. There's only 3 or 4. What's interesting, it's the first song on the alphabetical order on the CD, and it's the last song on the CD. Right. I actually like the slide guitar at the beginning that Eddie does, because that's a little unorthodox for him. But I've never really been too much into the blues as a kid. I mean, Van Halen was outside of the Beatles, Van Halen was my first, really my band that I liked. So some of the blues and country and some of that stuff I never really got into. So this song's a skip to me. I give it a 3 out of 10.
Whoa. All right.
Sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry. I apologize. I will send you magazines in the mail to make up for it.
Is that a timeout, Andrew, or what?
Wow. It's below 5. Gee.
For me, this song, it's a nice way to end the album. It's a bit of fun. It sounds like Van Halen just jamming some blues, swaggering, whiskey drinking vibes, nice slide and piano. There's nothing, doesn't set the world on fire. It's a borderline skip in a sense where, you know, if the last song of the album's okay, if it was in the middle of the album somewhere, I'd definitely skip it. And that being said, I gave it 6.5 out of 10. But that's rated that way in consideration, like for all the other songs, the way I've rated them. So I can't rate it a 7 or 8 or a 9 or a 10 even when I would think of it that way. It's not bad. I don't mind it. It's actually fun to hear them doing that sort of thing. But 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Oh, I always loved the song because I was a blues guy, you know, so I was, you know, listening to blues. And when I first heard this, it was like after a while of listening to the album, and then I don't know exactly where I was. And I thought, wow, you know, I was excited because this was another part of Van Halen that I hadn't heard, you know, and they're playing, you know, 12-bar blues. And then you've got, you know, Sammy going, Cheeman, meow, how, how. You know, it's like obviously they're taking the piss and having fun. You know, Foghat, is it Foghat? I think they were the guys that did the original version. So check out their version if you want.
Little Feet.
Little Feet. Sorry, yeah. Little Feet. Yeah. Check out Little Feet's version. It's interesting, but yeah. Look, I love the song. It's 8 out of 10 for me. It's never a skip. I can play it, but really interesting how that's on the album. You know, it's like out of all the Sammy albums that they've done, you know, like I could imagine something like that being on a album with David Lee Roth, but strange choice.
Well, I'm with you, Andrew.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I'm a blues guy. I'm a blues guy too, Andrew. You know that, and it's nice to hear Van Halen touching that. But I would have loved to have heard them do like more. Made more like it's like they're just having a bit of fun. They press record and that's it. If they're going to do a blues song, I would have loved to have heard them do a prop. I think in context of what it's just a bit of fun. They didn't really take it seriously, but I would have loved to have heard like Van Halen as a band do a traditional blues type song really well, and it would have sounded a lot like Clapton on guitar, I reckon. But that's a whole nother thing. What I'm saying is, Ed playing a bit of slide, mucking around, this and that. Yeah, put it in context, it's great. But for me, with the flow of the album, it's definitely a last song. And where I've rated all the other songs, I can't rate it any higher than I have.
Yeah, Brad, I would agree with you. Sammy, I thought, you know, when you hear him start out singing that song, he can do some blues singing. And then with Eddie's guitar, like it's a perfect, perfect match. But one thing I thought that was cool on this album is they did a blues song. They did kind of a country type song. Yeah, and they didn't do any instrumentals.
True.
Yeah, a little bit different than what we're used to.
Yeah, you
Good
get
point.
I would probably say, I don't know if you guys agree with this, you could almost say this album out of the 4 Sammy albums, this one kind of has the most flavors on it. Even though a lot of people would rank this album last out of the
Diversity.
4 Sammy albums, but it definitely has the most flavors, is like to my ears anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
So I suppose what we need to do is talk about, we're going to be live with the 5150 show in 2 weeks' time, and Kurt is going to be leading the discussion on that album there. So hold your seats, book your seats and your reservations for that. We'll be all over social media with links to that show. I just want to, before I pass it on to my co-host, I just want to thank Steve Anderson and Brad and Kurt for their time. Thank you, Steve, for giving us some information on the guitars, especially because we love that, and I think that's what makes Van Halen fans just a little bit different, because while we talk about the music, we love to talk about the gear too. You know, we can talk about the gear. So I don't know whether this is an opportunity for Kurt to talk about something that he's got planned coming up. Maybe you want to talk about that, Kurt.
Yeah, real quick. You know, Andrew and I chatted for like 30 minutes before the show, and I'm in the process of planning a show with Rob Johnson, and we're gonna do kind of a timeline of all of Eddie's guitars, from the Del Rey to the Les Paul all the way through, and deep dive into them. And it might be a long show, but Andrew and I thought maybe we don't want to just hang this show up when we're done with Van Halen 1. And Steve, I thought you and I could probably deep dive in some gear and do some shows where after we're done with all the albums, maybe we do some gear talk and nerd out on some guitars and things like that. I would love to do that with you.
Yeah, there's many aspects to all of this, and we can certainly just continue on after the album series to do a gear series or something, and we can talk about the different sounds on each record even. There's so many different eras of Eddie Van Halen, whether it's we're doing the music, and now you can even go further into the gear, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's always something that's a little bit of interest to Van Halen fans when I watch other Van Halen shows, and let's be fair, guys, you can never have enough Van Halen. There's a lot of room for Van Halen shows out there, and so we'll do the best that we can to support any show that Rob Johnson and Kurt does, because Rob Johnson is the man. He is deserving in his place as a Van Halen expert, and to be even associated with him in some form is a privilege for the show. I just want to do a little question to you guys, to my co-hosts. I noticed that Johnny Bean asked a question, or he made a comment early in the chat about how he's interested that Eric Clapton, when you consider his role and his presence in Eddie as a guitar player, hasn't come out on social media and offered any commentary on Eddie Van Halen. Are you guys surprised by that?
No, really.
Well, I know that they've met. I have a photo in one of my magazines that they have met before. I wish they had maybe recorded something together at some point, but unfortunately that never happened. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and I'm going to say this. There's Led Zeppelin. They consider themselves not like an influence of heavy metal, Led Zeppelin, and they don't want to be associated with heavy metal. There's a friend from Victoria here. His name's Sam Dunn, and he does this show. He did a big documentary called Global Metal, and he did a documentary with Iron Maiden, going on their tour with them, and it's called Banger TV. So it's really in the heavy metal realm that Sam Dunn is in, and he mentioned how he was trying to get hold of Led Zeppelin to come on his metal show, and Jimmy Page and Robert Plant actually declined. They said, we have nothing to do with your heavy metal world. But it's sort of interesting that as far as hard rock goes, Led Zeppelin's a real big influence on a lot of sort of what you'd call metal bands, with the big drums and the guitar and a blonde lead singer, if you're going to stereotype. It's kind of Led Zeppelin was the original model of that sort of, right from the late 60s. And so maybe Eric Clapton, I don't know, maybe he doesn't really necessarily see a connection between him with his blues stuff to Eddie Van Halen. And I think this is that category we were talking about when you guys were saying in 20 years, like Eddie Van Halen is going to be known in history as the all-time guitar god, where a lot of people right now, it's Jimi Hendrix because it's a different vein. Jimi Hendrix is part of blues and R&B even, and he sang and played guitar. Like, it's a different level. And it's very interesting to me, and it's topical, and we have our lists, and for me, it's just a different list. And maybe Eric Clapton considers himself like in a different vein than, like, I'm sorry to say this, but when Eddie Van Halen passed away, October 6th, I ran into a few people and I said, oh my God, we had a major loss today. Eddie Van Halen passed away. And they looked at me and said, that long-haired rocker, are you kidding me? Like, and sort of like an insult. And I was personally offended because here I am.
Rightly so.
No, I have framed photos of Eddie on my walls, and here I am. I build these Kramer 5150. Yeah. I'm moving into building these now, and I'm just like, it's so interesting to me, that subject. And we talked about it 2 weeks ago. Is there's just some people that they listen to jazz, they listen to country, they listen to blues, they listen to R&B. Eddie Van Halen doesn't mean anything to these people, and I run into it all the time, and it's so interesting to me. And here we are, the 5150 show, and Eddie's the guy, and all these amazing, eruption and Spanish fly, and the harmonics and the tapping and the dive bombs that it means so much to us as a listener, but for some people it just doesn't mean anything. And that's the problem I have when they're going to compare him to Jimi Hendrix. They kind of don't have a chance. Because
what about you, Kurt and Brad? Do you guys have an opinion on it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
Sorry.
Well, for starters, Eric Clapton doesn't run his social medias. So
okay.
He would not be actively on social media anyway, because he's one of these guys that doesn't really want to have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Whether he's publicly come out and announced it, but he doesn't do a lot of, like, especially now at his age, he doesn't do a lot of public talking or anything to do about his own music even. I'm not sure whether it's a personal thing. I'm not sure whether it's against that style of music or whatever. I just think that maybe one day someone will ask him about it and he'll be like, yeah, it was a huge loss. I think that's Clapton's style throughout the years. He's been, but especially more so now, he does not run his social medias like Billy Gibbons doesn't. All these bigger guys have nothing to do with their social media accounts. They're not.
It's their management team, isn't it? The management team are running it. So,
and
I think that's a good point.
So he might mention something later on, Andrew, but like in an interview, whether he's interviewed later. But you also got to remember, I don't think he does a lot of interviews now. Even like he's not really in that place in his life anymore where he cares to do that stuff.
75 years old, buddy.
Yeah. So he's kind of past that point of like, I need to be in the public eye anymore. I'm just going to book gigs when I want to play, and that's it. He's got his own problems, his health problems and stuff, and that's
So I think Eddie was pretty vocal about only liking a certain era of Eric Clapton. He talked about the cream. I love the cream portion of Eric Clapton, and I want to say he said something about as soon as Eric Clapton got off drugs, I didn't like his playing style anymore or something. So I don't know, maybe if Eric Clapton was offended by some of Eddie's comments, because I know they've met once or twice, and I think Eddie was battling with his own alcohol addictions at the time when he met Clapton. So maybe there was some rubbing the wrong way with the way they interacted with each other. So
actually, that's Kurt, that's a very good point, and I'm a Clapton nut here, and I know that Clapton, when he first started becoming sober, would go out of his way to tell people, other fellow musicians who were battling alcohol, he would be almost evangelical to them and would piss a few people off, and he hints at that in his biography, and then realised that probably wasn't the way to do it. When you go up to someone who's half smashed and say, lay off that, brother, it's probably not a good thing. Yeah.
So I think there was some, maybe just not rubbed each other the wrong way, but maybe just some, the vibes weren't jiving. And I would say Eric Clapton is a classy guy, and he probably thinks that we lost a great guitarist, but he's probably just would never say anything.
I think you will hear something from Clapton at some point in his style and fashion, the way he does. But again, even like Jimmy Page now, who is active on social media, but it's not him doing it. It's not him, but he wants to do that now because he's got things going on for Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. Billy Gibbons, he doesn't run his, but he's active on social media. But the majority of the stuff that's done is done by a management team. Paul McCartney's just done an album, and he doesn't do his social media. He put up one comment and they repost it. That's that's kind of where those guys are at in their career. They don't need to be in the public eye all the time. So I dare say Clapton would definitely acknowledge, that he was an amazing musician and songwriter and guitarist.
Clapton would have been happy too to hear that he was clean towards the end too as well. He would have been happy. About that because
Can you imagine if they would have jammed together for an hour? We could have got that on video.
Well, so that's a point that I've been arguing for 10 years, Kurt. I used to always argue on Van Halen and Clapton Facebooks and forum groups. Why isn't Eddie Van Halen at Clapton's Crossroads festivals? They have John Mayer, they have all these other guys there. Why isn't Clapton there? I mean, why isn't Eddie there?
Right. Yeah, he always chose to play with just some real unorthodox players that you wouldn't think he would choose. The Brian Mays and him and Steve Lukather were like best friends, and I would, they jived together, but he just didn't. I don't know. He kind of kept to his own circle, I think.
And we all know that Eddie could play Crossroads because, how many clips are on YouTube where he's jamming out playing Crossroads and that chick's interviewing him and he's saying, I can play Crossroads note for note, and he hadn't played it for a while, and he picks up his guitar and he's playing it.
Well, he could play the whole entire...
In this magazine, he talks, he knows every solo to Cream. He knows them all.
Yeah. When he was, 13, 14, 15 years old, Kurt?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. All by ear. No YouTube, Kurt. No tabs. All by ear.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Clapton used to invite people on to his Crossroads Festival, and that's only done, every second year? It's not done every year.
Yeah.
Maybe an invite did go out to Ed. We don't know. You wouldn't know. I know Steve Vai played one, and I mean, why wouldn't he invite Ed?
Good point.
So maybe Ed wasn't available, or health-wise, or maybe had something else going on. We don't know. It's the
good point.
It's the old thing of, we don't know. The unknown.
We don't know. We're only surmising and hypothesizing, aren't we?
Yeah, because I mean, Clapton invited a lot of players that I would never expect to be on a Crossroads Festival. But the Crossroads Festival was about, guitar players. So guys like Steve Vai being on it. Then you've got a blues player, even like modern guys that have won contests like Art Menzies and things like that, whom I really get into. And these guys that have been playing the blues for 10, 15 years and they're newcomers, Then there's the usuals are, like Dor Bramall II and stuff like that are getting invited, and they turn up and they actually do their own show as well as playing with Clapton in his band. So it's a cross-reference of different styles at that sort of festival, but the majority of it is leaning towards blues.
Well, Doyle is a son to Eric basically now, isn't he? He's been in his band for a long, long time, produced a couple of albums for Eric, and he's had his issues too, didn't he? He was pinging up there for a while too, so kind of got straight through. But I think that was probably something I thought that we should share with within the co-hosts, because we all know many times that Eddie has gone out of his way to say who his huge influence was many times. So yeah.
Maybe down the track we'll hear something from EC Eric Clapton saying it was a huge loss.
All right. Well, guys, 3 hours and 39 minutes on the 5150 show. So I'm just going to say thank you to everybody in the chat. If you haven't subscribed, please, to the channel, please check out Kurt's channel. When Kurt organises the time and the link for the show with Rob, we'll share that. I'm not sure.
Maybe we'll do it on your channel. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, mate, we're happy to have any content that's EVH related on the 5150 show. Happy New Year to everybody. I want everyone to appreciate the contribution by my co-hosts, because it's their time that they've put aside to present our thoughts and opinions on OU812. It's been a pleasure from my perspective to share this time with you guys, and I wish everybody in the chat a happy new year, and please share the channel. Check out Brad's channel too, please, brad-cook.com. If you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll be up to date with other shows that we do, and we've got an interview lined up with Brad at the end of January. So Brad's going to talk about his EP. Brad's going to talk about some upcoming music that he's got planned. He's going to talk about his processes as a songwriter. So we're happy to have that. And if you guys stay tuned for that, you'll be able to participate in it. Thank you. So you guys, I'll hand it over to you guys for your end greetings.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody and a happy new year to you. And it's great to see Brad and Kurt and Andrew. And what are we looking at, guys? In 2 weeks, we're doing 5150. Right on. And
I've already started listening to it.
Yeah, and Brad's got to switch gears and listen to another album for 2 weeks. And so we'll look forward to 2 weeks' time. And I should probably it's the new year now, so things have been on hold a little bit with packages coming in here. So I'm sure I'm going to have some what's in the box and Guru's collectibles, more stuff coming in. And we'll look forward to 2 weeks' time.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Well,
and
guys,
this will be complete.
Awesome.
Thank you again for having me. This is my second show. 6 months ago, if you would have asked me if I were to be doing one of these shows, I would have said, no, you're crazy. So thank you for stretching me and challenging me and letting me just spread my passion to you guys and everyone else who's watching this. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers for Andrew's channel. I'll do whatever I can to get there, and I'm looking forward to 2021. And I appreciate your guys' support, and it's always fun doing this with you. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. It's been fun.
Wow.
Awesome, Kurt. I'll mirror a lot of what Kurt said there. I want to get the channel up to 1,000. That's a objective. And just, yeah, Happy New Year, guys. It's great. I love doing these shows with you guys. It's great to connect, and we're obviously doing it for our love for Van Halen. And it's a wonderful thing that we're doing, I think. We're keeping it honest opinions, what we feel, and we really appreciate everyone in the chat, giving their perspective as well, and basically joining in and being part of it. But positive 21, guys. Let's keep it positive, keep it rocking. We had a challenging 2020, but this has happened. This show's happened in 2020. There's so many positives that we can talk about. So let's keep it positive, keep the channel growing, continue to share it, guys. Jump on, share it around, but get it on your socials and share this channel, because I can see big things for this channel with Andrew's channel. And thank you, Andrew, for continually plugging my stuff. I really appreciate that. And thank you guys.
We're all brothers. We're all brothers, and it's our channel.
And thank you.
Brad, we want your stuff to go up, man. That's what I want.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I really appreciate that. And I know you guys mean it, so thank you. And I really respect you guys with your guitars, and I love hearing all your information and detailed information on your guitars. So, and now, Andrew, I'm going to put something back onto you, brother. You have to make a little intro for Kurt for his encyclopedia.
Okay. I will, but I want you guys to do all this for the thumb screen. All right? All right? All right, that's for the thumb screen. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, thank you, guys. I will. And now it's time for Kurt's.
What are you going to call it?
Kurt's going to have to.
Reverend Kurt, Fireside Chats.
Deep dive. Unknown fact from the Reverend Kurt. 5150. All right. You guys are awesome. Hey, Sonia, thank you for joining us. And look, I'm privileged. I'm humbled, and I mean that sincerely, to be sharing 3 hours with the Rummeister, Kurt 5150, and Brad. I'm humbled, and thank you guys. And I appreciate the positive vibes that you guys are talking about. Prayers to everybody, and let's move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to thank the panel here for not ripping into one of my favorite Van Halen albums. I was expecting a lot lower rankings with these songs, so thank you very much.
No, it's enjoyable, and I think we're rating the songs based on the album as well. So, we're in the context of the album. That's how I rate the songs. I think we've done the song, our top 10 Van Halen songs in the past, but each album we're tackling individually, and we're rating it as opposed to each track individually on the album. So, that's how I do it. So.
But I'm also biased too, Brad, because I have emotional connections with these albums. So as we go back further, I'm going to be presenting opinions on albums that don't have as stronger emotional attachments to me. And, the Rummeister talks about it often, the 5150 and OU812 being his era, So I know that Johnny, for example, rates Women and Children First as his favourite album. I watched a show where and I'm going, wow, wow, because that's not my favourite Van Halen album at all, So I was interested to hear his opinions why, but I dig it, I get it, but it's not mine. So, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.